Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from the UDL, back from Hoover, Alabama, back from SEC Media Days. Great to be down in Hoover with the rest of the conference and the rest of the media from around the conference. As we always say, when you get back down here from Media Day, it is officially football season. It feels like football season is here. Best of morning to everybody. Katie's here. Lloyd's here. Appreciate y'all for holding down yesterday's show. Great live tweeting by Katie yesterday.
How does it feel?
New gig.
You're officially an LSU fan now. You've been turncoated by your own people.
I really have. I really have.
Explain the scenario, Katie.
Judas.
What happened? What happened?
I mean, I'm sitting in my house live tweeting, and it's a little hard to understand, Coach O. Everybody
This
kinda
was her
knows that.
excuse.
Being the great the great employee she is for the Jordy Culotta Show, she gave me a text yesterday and said, "I'm going to do the live tweeting while
taking
Coach O is
ownership.
up. I'm doing it." And you just stick to doing the videos and the pictures that you're sitting
You just
in
relax and let
from
me
Hoover.
handle
I'm like,
this.
all right, look at her.
Take an
Okay,
initiative.
I mean, go ahead. You can do it.
Love this content game.
Yes, if you want to do it, go ahead.
And as we've seen with Katie before, the Twitter doesn't work out exactly
work
as
out
it goes
with
to
me
plan.
and Twitter.
But
I
she
don't
does
like
fire
it.
away.
I fired away.
So you're quote tweeting Ed Ogeron yesterday, which I mean we can all say out loud. That's probably pretty difficult to do, especially if you're not on premises.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you're kind
I
of
was sitting at my kitchen counter with an air conditioner
sitting
repairman
500 miles
there.
away from the guy.
Yeah. So I mean, I misquoted a little bit, or I maybe embellished the end of one of the quotes. I mean, it wasn't in my benefit though. It was
Right.
not LSU's benefit. That was the crazy part about it.
That's what made me wonder. It's all very opportune for it to
Was it
be
me?
about Mississippi State, and then for her to try to fire up maybe her fan base.
I feel like
mean,
I heard that though.
the-
I mean, like I took bits and pieces of what he said, and I did a ellipses in between. So I
You
didn't
called
do
it a
the-
must-win. You said that he
I
said,
did say that.
You said that Ed said we're going to win.
Yeah.
We're
And
going
it's
to
a
win the
must
game.
win. I mean, it got the attention of the starting quarterback
It
in Mississippi
did.
State.
It did
So,
get the attention of Will Rogers. That was
so I think we
interesting.
might have been sleuthed from the inside. I
But
feel
it's
like
like
it might have been an inside man.
So I know some of the people they were just so mad about, and they're coming out back with stats and stuff like, y'all don't know, like you got to give this a year, and the air raid's coming by, you know, all this stuff. And then some people were like, that is not exactly what he said. Some people were like, that's nowhere near what he said, and I'm like, I beg to differ. It was very near what he said.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was
right.
close enough.
It was close.
But I didn't say
I've been called like CNN, like
Oof.
you're
Fake news.
fake news.
fake news. Like your journalism sucks. I'm like, I wasn't
Journalism.
trying to be a journalist.
If
like,
you are here for the journalism, people, you are in the wrong place.
Just look at the
Yes.
post before.
Check out the setup.
apparently nobody had a problem with any of the other 20 tweets I put out there.
Yeah.
No,
So
you
I
did a
guess-
great
I
job.
guess those are
You did a great
okay.
job.
She was so nervous, man. She was texting me. She's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I won't come into the show tomorrow." I was like, "Katie, this is not
Yeah,
a big
right.
deal. This is Twitter.
I messed
You
up.
talk your shit, log off."
Hey, Mississippi State fans, LSU's coming to Starkville in September to kick your ass,
I mean,
just like Ed
clearly.
Ogeron said they were going to do
Just like I
yesterday.
Quote that.
just like Katie tweeted yesterday. Take that one up to the top.
She's good.
We're going to talk to Jake Crain this morning of the J-Boys Show. He'll be here at 7:30. He'll give us a look out on what's coming up today at SEC Media Day. You'll get your first chance to meet Josh Heupel, who's the new Tennessee head coach. Kirby Smart will be in the building from Georgia. Lane Kiffin will be there from Ole Miss. I'm missing one, as there are 4 teams today. On the opening day, there are 3 teams. And with today's action really kind of gets moving early this morning with everybody coming through there. And as we said, it'll be Tennessee, it'll be Georgia, it'll be Ole Miss, and then Kentucky. Mark Stoops this afternoon will be paired alongside Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. Matt Corral, only one of 3 quarterbacks that will be in Hoover for SEC Media Day, talking to a lot of people over there. That was some of the feedback and some of the pushback of this season's SEC Media Days. Where are the stars at? Where are the headline guys that are going to be kind of the faces of the conference? Many of the people that I was talking to think they may have met the face of the conference, or at least one of them yesterday, and Derek Stingley Jr. And his being there with LSU and the way that he addressed the room and the way he carried himself around Media Day. So we'll talk all about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As we said, we'll talk to Jake Crain. He's our only guest that we have scheduled coming up here this morning. So we'll talk predominantly about what was happening over in Hoover. How about Coach Jay Johnson? And the LSU baseball team.
He doesn't stop.
I mean, bro, they are racking up. He picked up a couple of other prospects. We'll tell you all about them coming up here in a couple of minutes. LSU baseball LSU football got a commitment yesterday from one of the top running backs in the state, and this is a position that Ogeron and the crew needed to take care of. There are a couple of running backs in the state. Le'Veon Moss from Estruma right here in Baton Rouge pledged his commitment to Alabama a couple of weeks back. That was going to shift the focus to Javante Citizen out of Lake Charles, and the 6-foot, 220-pounder chose LSU over Auburn, Texas, and Texas A&M yesterday. He's rated the number 2 running back in the country, according to Rivals, and now with his pledge to LSU, it gives the Tigers 16 commitments. We'll talk about what that means for LSU, Ogeron, and the class. As speaking to somebody very close to the situation, Ogeron had a ton to do with this recruitment. A lot of people behind the scenes are working, whether it be a guy like Austin Thomas or Mason Smith or some of the behind the scenes guys in recruiting for LSU football, Colin D'Angelo. But while we have heard for Javante Citizen that the head coach Ed Ogeron did a lot of the groundwork for Citizen, and then yesterday he pledges to LSU and becomes the 16th commitment. So we'll get to all of that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Daily, our coffee is brought to you by Majestic Coffee, Majestic Brews, locally brewed down here in South Louisiana. You can find out how you can make Majestic Brews a part of your start to the day by logging online to DeliciousSips.com. And then our water every day is provided by True Blue Water. That's TruBlue water.com, truebluewater.com. Every single day. Our guest, Jake Crain, will be here via the phone line, which means that Metropolitan Health Group, Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan are compliments of the phone line, and make sure that all of our guests are taken care of daily here as we will talk to Jake Crain and go back over to Hoover, Alabama for coverage this morning to see what is going on for day 2 in Hoover. But it's good to be back. I was telling the crew when I got here this morning, Kelly and I. So the weekend started in Summit, Mississippi, picking up little Jay from Dixie basketball camp, which was phenomenal to see. A ton of kids from Baton Rouge down there wrapping up week 1. Scott Dean, the son of the late Joe Dean, is now taking over the day-to-day operations of String Music basketball camp. And my son had an excellent experience, an incredible time there in his first week, alongside a bunch of his friends and a bunch of the crew. And then from there, he went with his mom, and he's up in the Ozarks in Arkansas,
really?
cliff diving.
Laundering some money.
Yes.
That's the only thing I know about that place.
They should have canceled it.
Did they?
Yeah, they canceled it.
No.
Yeah, they canceled the show.
I think you
Wait,
got
what?
fooled. You got no.
Yeah, they
no,
canceled
you got,
Ozarks.
No, you got fooled by the internet. 100% fooled by the
Why?
internet.
Bro, go ahead, do your research.
He's like, Google it, I dare you.
Please Google it.
Comes to an end in 2021 with a 2-part 4th season, so it's not over.
Wait, what?
You saw it on Twitter. They do that every time.
Wait, it's not canceled?
No, they
I
put
tweeted it out that it was canceled.
Yeah, there we go. No, they put a picture. I don't know what Twitter ad does this.
Katie
but,
fished.
Yes, but they always put up the Netflix shows that are canceled for the upcoming season. They always put a picture of Ozarks, and it's like, well, that's definitely not that show. So I don't. You got fooled by the internet, like just right, pow.
Oh man, I got sad for a second.
Wait, when does the new season start?
Wait, Ozark has been canceled.
No.
Ah, you jerk
Oh
off.
no!
I told you.
No! Season 4 confirmed to be the last series, so it's not
Okay.
canceled. They're wrapping it up. Canceled's a very strong
People in the bunker are
word.
saying it's not canceled. Season 4.
Yeah, it has to end. Everybody has to die. That's how that show ends.
So I told you that Ozarks
It wraps up
is
season 4.
Well, so after this season, it's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's
Okay,
not
all right,
canceled.
okay, all right. Well, little Jay's up in Arkansas in the Ozark Mountains cliff diving for the weekend, which looked tremendous. Some of the video that came out of there. And then we were in Tuscaloosa
He's a Bammer now.
for the weekend, which, I mean, my place has always been to hate anything Crimson, to hate anything T-Town, to hate anything tied to the University of Alabama. And here I am,
Getting recruited.
72 hours later,
Missing
trying to
Tuscaloosa.
fend off my love for Tuscaloosa.
Oh, God.
I miss her.
That's serious.
It is very serious.
What do they call this? A midlife crisis?
So you
No,
had a
no,
nice
it's so much
time.
as a
You had really
midlife
good time.
crisis. It was just kind of a realization of the town. I mean, I have always experienced Bama on one street on University Avenue. I mean, I've gone to a couple of places, Copper Tops, Houndstooth. You know what I mean? I've just kind of
Yeah.
seen the bar and then go back to College Town. But another city that on a minor scale could be comped to Baton Rouge that's got it figured out. I mean, it's clean, it's accessible, you can walk everywhere from downtown, and that really kind of being the centerpiece, downtown is really nice. I mean, it's moving, there's people buzzing and moving around. It's not a big city.
Right.
It's not huge, but the way that they use their space, in my opinion, is just another, you know, when you look at Baton Rouge, you see how far behind it is, and all of the effort and all of the money in trying to make the city relevant or certain parts of the city relevant, and the wasteland that it's gone to. You know, it would simply, to me, be like a trip to somewhere like Tuscaloosa,
Yeah.
and just see how they've cleaned it. It looks clean.
Feels
it
clean.
looks new. It feels fresh.
Well, you know, a lot of it is new after that tornado ripped through there.
Well, yeah, has that been over 10 years? Has that
No.
was that 2011 when that
Was
happened?
it?
I think it
God, I
was.
thought it was.
I mean,
more recent
it was.
than that. I guess so.
But
I mean, that-
yes, I mean, what?
Oh, no, I was gonna say. I mean, it's like it's almost.
You about to talk? You about to talk trash
'cause I'm-
about Toontown, bro?
Yeah, Bammer.
He
Roll Tide.
He
What?
bowed up when he said
What? Well, yeah, but you got the experience that not many people get of Tuscaloosa. It seems
Yeah.
you got to go. I mean, you were on Lake Alabama, whatever that
Yes.
is.
Well,
you
and
got to do. You saw it from the nines.
So we stayed in downtown Alabama, which we stayed right on the river, and everywhere we went, we could have walked. Now we didn't, but we could have. The breakfast joints. See, like this is a complaint that I have about a city like Baton Rouge. Like on a Sunday morning in Baton Rouge, you can't get a local breakfast joint that's open before 7 a.m., before 8 a.m.
No,
Yeah.
well, yeah, you had game day the night before. Who's going to breakfast at 7 a.m.?
I'm talking about
He
on a
just means a
July
regular Sunday.
Oh.
morning, bro. I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
we're
a small town. I mean, Baton Rouge isn't some cosmopolitan big city like they want to act like they are.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I think
at the end of the day, you're still a smaller city that has mom and pop shops. That's my example. That would be my example. You can't get breakfast in Baton Rouge before 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And to me, that just feels so unattached. And when you go to
a lot of these people.
when you go to a town like Tuscaloosa's got a couple of local breakfast joints or a couple of local joints that are open, looking to make money. You know what I mean? Like that. At the end of the day, I mean, aren't you in business to make money? And then you look at Tuscaloosa; they had a couple of this place called Waysiders that opened up 5 a.m. Monday through Saturday, opened up at 6 a.m. on Sunday. But I told Kelly, I was like, this is a great example of the difference between a town like Tuscaloosa and Baton Rouge that's still attached to its community, still attached to its people, with places like that where Baton Rouge feels like, you know, that they have this air to them, like they're this big city, like they're this cosmopolitan town where they don't have these types of local mom and pops anymore that really make the city feel, you know, like you're prideful about your city. You're prideful about your place. There's nothing like that. And the cleanliness is the first thing that you see.
That's the first thing
Yeah.
that I noticed when I went there.
Well, the campus is beautiful there in Tuscaloosa.
But Katie,
the
I didn't
city
even
is just
see the
an
campus.
Oh, you didn't?
Like that's the thing that, like, Kelly was like, well, I mean, it's just a college town. And we looked up. We had been there. I said we hadn't even seen the campus yet.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, we went to
But
the
it's close.
we went to the
It's so
farm. It is.
small.
It is
So
right
it
there.
just really-
It's always right
everything
there.
revolves
It's
around
always
it.
right there for sure. But I mean, like, we went to the farmers market on Saturday morning. We had local breakfast places 2 days in a row. And my friend William Miller and his wife Jennifer Lancaster Miller, who is from Tuscaloosa and now they live there, are building a beautiful place on Lake Tuscaloosa, a beautiful home on Lake Tuscaloosa. And it just was, it was a fantastic weekend. I mean, I had never experienced Tuscaloosa from that point of view. And in doing so and coming back, again, very disappointed in my city. I mean, just how far behind the crime, the leadership,
the football,
the football, but just the access to the city, the way that they're able to move around down there and experience their downtown. It was just a cool weekend.
Yeah, I just don't think Baton Rouge is built like that. Baton Rouge is never meant to be what it is right now. It was never meant to be this bustling college town. It was just supposed to be the capital city.
Yeah. Then
you throw a 110,000 person stadium in the middle of it, and it just absolutely bottlenecked the entire place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So fantastic weekend in Tuscaloosa. Thank you to the Millers for the hospitality.
Is that who hosted y'all in Pensacola too?
Yes.
Same people? Wow, they're everywhere.
They are. They're everywhere. But they hosted us in Tuscaloosa over the weekend, and it was fun. It was great. And then yesterday, so we take off and go to Hoover for day one of SEC Media Days. And everybody is really buzzing at SEC Media Days yesterday morning on the piece that dropped from Sports Illustrated. The SEC, NCAA, and a fight to change college sports is the headline by our friend Ross Dellinger, who we spent some minutes with yesterday morning over in Hoover. But his piece dropped 23 hours ago. So it dropped yesterday morning at 8 a.m. at SEC Media Days, and it was really a inside look at Greg Sankey and his mindset going into day one of the convention, but some of the things that he had voiced going into what was going to be his opening remarks to Media Day. And it's as, wow, I mean, it was as volatile and as harsh as we've heard Greg Sankey from his podium ever be to anyone about college athletics, the future of it, and really his criticism of the NCAA stands out. Now, yesterday he wasn't as direct as he was in Dellinger's piece, and I would advise you to get to SI.com and read Ross Dellinger's latest piece titled "The SEC, NCAA, and a Fight to Change College Sports," if you have not already done so. It is an inside look onto where the future of sports and college sports could be going, and it seems as if the SEC has taken control of the driver's seat and understands the power, the weight that it swings when they speak, when they play, when they show up, and are about to take the lead on this thing. The next 3 years in college athletics is going to change tremendously. It will not feel, obviously, we know that now with things like name, image, and likeness in the transfer portal, that it will not look and feel like it has in the past. 3 years from today, it'll be a totally different product. I don't know if that's for good, bad, or
indifferent.
Or indifferent. I don't know what that means, but it will not feel and look like it does today. I just get that sense in being around some of the power of college athletics. I mean, some of the most powerful people in college sports were inside that room, whether it was bowl presidents or whether it was Greg Sankey and the power structure of the SEC. You could feel that was the big conversation piece yesterday morning on what the future of college sports is going to look like. And overwhelmingly, the conversation seems to narrate around that it's not going to look anything like it does today. And I think that's obvious, but the change, as Greg Sankey did a couple of times yesterday, in quoting the Beatles, a change is a-coming. And it's coming fast. In fact, Sankey started off his remarks, I believe 4 years ago, with that exact quotation from the Beatles hit, and he brought that tone back yesterday, and really highlighted the change that is coming to college athletics. It doesn't seem like the NCAA has any future. I mean, Mark Emmert obviously condemning the structure that it was functioning under now as late as last week so he could get out in front of messages like this. And I mean, if you remember, Mark Emmert last week was talking about decentralizing the power of the NCAA. Oh, yeah, Mark? You think? The snowball's at the bottom of the hill, bro. I mean, this thing's rolled downhill over
done.
everybody in your organization, and now you're going to finally speak up and say, maybe it's time that we take a little power away from us. Mark, your power is stripped, and the people that have called you on that and are taking all of that power from you are guys like Greg Sankey. And Sankey has routinely, in his tenure as the SEC commissioner, not stayed tight-lipped, but would rarely ever put any type of thought out there that could be deemed controversial. Well, he blew that strategy up with Dellinger's piece yesterday over at SI.com and his remarks yesterday at the podium to kick off SEC Media Days. I have not always been the biggest fan of Greg Sankey. I thought that at times he's stayed quiet on terms where he could be loud. And at times there has been more inaction than action coming out of his office. That changed yesterday. That changed over the last couple of weeks. You can see that Sankey is really embracing the new role of, not necessarily the new role, but the role that they are going to accept the SEC and where they fit into college sports. And that's the alpha of the entire makeup. And I thought Sankey did a tremendous job yesterday and in Dellinger's piece of kind of laying that out.
Well, and if you look at what the SEC has done over the years, not just in football, which is where it's always been king, but baseball, like every other program, is kind of catching up to where LSU kind of laid the foundation of being a top tier. They saw LSU set the foundation for you can almost make money in this sport, and then basketball has been the real saving grace, I think, for the SEC and probably Greg Sankey seeing we have SEC teams going to the tournament. It might be one of the top tier leagues now as opposed to an ACC or a Big 12 or anybody like that.
Yeah.
Like the ACC has rose to prominence in almost every sport. So it's almost like Greg Sankey's usurped Mark Emmert in what his job was.
He definitely has.
And he did it in the shadows.
When you think of the NCAA and some of the figures that run it, how long does it take you to get to Emmert? I mean, how long does it take you to really think about Emmert as being a true player on the scale of getting any type of change done? I mean, if you go back and watch that Supreme Court justice visit, I mean, you thought it was embarrassing that day. Go back and see the way they just dressed him down for 2 hours. And he doesn't have much
pot to piss in.
He doesn't have a leg to stand on. He doesn't have any type of point that makes any sense in that entire, I mean, throughout that entire visit with the Supreme Court. I mean, they chop him down at every single turn. And not chop him down, I mean like embarrassing at every turn. And then the NCAA gives him a raise and an extension through 2025. I mean, it's like, what are we doing? You know, I mean, what are we even talking about? Nobody even recognizes how out of touch and how disconnected the NCAA is. And when somebody like Greg Sankey calls it out and recognizes it, well, I mean, obviously this thing is going to be it's going to change. There's going to be significant change in the structure of college athletics. I mean, Sankey was talking about the possibility of forming football-only conferences, about just the way that the thing is going to be governed. I mean, they're not even, you know, I mean, they were referencing LSU. I mean, in the committee on infractions, on timelines, on consequence. I mean, the fact that, you know, 5 years later or nearly 4 years later, these cases from 2017 that were brought to light have not even been ruled upon. It's just it's no way for any organization to function. It's no way for any business to operate. It's no way for the SEC to be a business partner with the NCAA, and it looks like that is coming to a halt because of the commissioner's statements yesterday. We'll talk to Jake. We will talk to Jake Crain from the J-Boy Show as we will get his thoughts on what he thought Sankey had to say yesterday and what his future looks like in the Southeastern Conference. What his thoughts were for Ed Ogeron and LSU. We'll lay that out for you as well.
Is it almost as if the SEC's outgrown the NCAA?
Yes, 100%.
That's what you feel?
Yes.
That's what it looks like. And it seems like Mark Emmert has just kind of flailing in the wind, not knowing where to turn, what to do, and Greg Sankey's over there in the power position.
Yeah. No,
Like hands on hips, just like, hey, what do you want me to do?
I mean,
take your 2.5 and run, dude.
Guys collecting $3 million when they lose 50% of their revenue last year. You know, I mean, it is a unawareness or a disconnect that is a case study. I mean, like it is. Are you serious that you're going to go up to Capitol Hill and try to explain that you still have some sort of
autonomy,
right? Like you still have some type of power behind your name, or that you really feel like people are listening to you when you speak. And when you have guys like Sankey come out and really just chop that out from under him, the way that he's done through the SI piece and through the
SEC Media Day.
There's a quote in the SI piece that says the NCAA is like a dog without teeth.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
That's
all bark,
a really
no bite.
good way to describe it.
So we will go back to Hoover and talk to Jake Crain here in a couple of minutes, as the J-Boys Show is one of the fantastic podcasts that you can check into for SEC coverage. He does a great job of covering recruiting, of covering the conference, and we will talk to him next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily we are brought to you by A-Bears Specialty Meats. Stop in and see A-Bears today. They've got 2 locations right here in the greater Baton Rouge area. There's one in Prairieville in the Dutchtown Shopping Center out there off of the Dutchtown exit, and then right here on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, where you can find them in the Bocage Shopping Center next to Pearson's Luggage. Great lunch specials over at both locations. Stop in and check out the chili dogs here in Baton Rouge. They've got a seafood po' boy for special, usually a catfish or a shrimp, a sausage po' boy, and the chicken salad sandwich is the newest addition to the menu for lunch here in Baton Rouge. So stop and check them out on Jefferson Highway. And while you wait for your lunch, shop the freezers. Take home something to cook tonight, something to cook this weekend, something to cook throughout the week. They've got all of that ready for you inside of the freezers. If you're looking for a deboned stuffed chicken, A-Bears is the home of it. Stop in and see them. They've got great selections, whether it's on Jefferson Highway here in Baton Rouge or whether it's in Gonzales and Prairieville in the Dutchtown Shopping Center. Stop in and see them. A-Bears Specialty Meats, a great sponsor and a great friend here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Next, we will go back down to Hoover. J-Boy from the Jake Crain from the J-Boy Show. We'll stop in next year to talk SEC Media Days. We'll ask him about LSU. We'll ask him about the future on how college sports operates, in his opinion, when we come back here, the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottaShow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottaShow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live on this Tuesday morning, giving reaction to SEC Media Days yesterday. Also, we'll give our thoughts on Ed Orgeron and LSU as they made their way around the media yesterday in Hoover, Alabama. Today, you'll get your first look at Josh Heupel from Tennessee. Kirby Smart from Georgia will be a part of the morning selection, and then this afternoon it'll be Ole Miss and Kentucky. Mark Stoops and Lane Kiffin will be over in Hoover, Alabama. We were there yesterday and saw a boatload of people, a lot of people down there in Hoover, including our friend Jake Crain of the J-Boy Show. If you're looking for SEC material, if you're looking for SEC content, my guy J-Boy has got it, man. His podcast is fantastic. You can check him out on social media. He's all over the place, and it was good seeing you yesterday over in Hoover, Alabama, man. Thanks for the time this morning. Welcome in. Good morning. How are you?
Man, first off, Jordy, I appreciate you having me on. It was great to see you yesterday, brother, and run into you and chat for a bit. And excited, man. You know, SEC Media Days is like a jumping off point, meaning we are close to the season. It was good to see everybody, moving around, and was a great first day and really pumped for day two.
We talked about Greg Sankey and his message yesterday, and for the most part, some of these that we've been to over the last couple of years, Sankey will get on the podium, and he'll be there for 25, 30 minutes, but he doesn't say much. I thought yesterday he said a lot in his time at the microphone, moreover looking at the future of the NCAA and whether or not where it fits into the power structure of college sports. What did you take away from Sankey's opening remarks?
You know, to me, I thought he felt pretty an only word I can think of is kind of presidential in the way that he delivered it. You know, he delivered it, with some passion, more passion than we typically see from Greg Sankey. But to me, if something does happen with the NCAA and they're looking for somebody to be the president of a new organization that deals with this or the head of that, I think Greg Sankey is the perfect guy. I mean, you look at the way he led the way when everybody else was panicking, when the Big Ten was panicking, when the Pac-12 was panicking, when the Big 12 was panicking. He really kind of stayed the course at the most dominant conference in football. And he's got some swag about him, Jordy. I mean, he really does. I mean, the guy walks in the room, gets up there, and you can tell he's saying what he actually believes. And I think that's the difference, is that, it's a real genuine, authentic feel. I think he was excited. I think he's pumped up about this season, just like all of us are. But no, I was very impressed, as I usually am with Greg Sankey.
Matt Corral will be there today with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. He's only one of three quarterbacks that will be in Hoover this week from SEC schools. Yesterday, LSU was there with Derek Stingley Jr., and a lot of people believe that he could be a true superstar of the sport here in 2021. What'd you take away from LSU's remarks and LSU working their way around SEC Media Days on Monday?
Yeah, I thought Edo did a great job. I mean, and listen, he's always been a confident guy. His teams are always going to be confident. But you can tell they have a chip on their shoulder. And I think that's where LSU does best. I don't think LSU does best as the reigning champ or anything like that. I think they do better as the outsider. I got to talk to Austin Deculus and Stingley yesterday, and I know they're both pumped. I talked with Austin about just how close the locker room was, and he's like, look, man, I know it's cliche, but this is as close as a group as you could possibly see. And I want to say something to LSU fans and the fans in general, because I think there's a common misconception. I was lucky enough to coach for 9 years, 5 at the Division I level, and it's amazing the perception of what's going on and then what's going on in the locker room. And what do I mean by that? LSU, they've had negative press and negative PR and some things, about Coach O and the team and the way it is there. And everybody thinks, oh, that's going to lead to the downfall of a team. Most of the time in that locker room, that brings everybody closer. Now the us against the world argument that Edo can throw out there works, and the guys really think in that locker room, it is us versus everybody else. And the type guy that Edo is, he'll take that. We'll bet on us. And I think that's going to actually help LSU. And look, I'm not saying the allegations, all that stuff shouldn't be taken seriously, and I know they are and stuff like that. Not that it's important. But for the players, it's amazing how that can bring you together. That's why I think they're going to go out there and smack UCLA out there in California, get on the plane, and hop back to Baton Rouge.
You had Brad Johnson on your show, and yesterday Coach Orgeron was talking about his quarterback scenario going into the season. You and I have talked in depth about this. I believe that Max Johnson is LSU's best quarterback. I believe he gives them the best chance to win. After your discussions with Brad, after listening to Coach Orgeron yesterday, and after doing your research, like you guys do on the J-Boy show, what do you think about LSU's quarterback spot going into fall camp?
Yeah, well, the way I look at this, number one, it's hard not to play a guy that went undefeated, basically, was playing well as the starter, got hurt, got taken out because he was hurt. But I look at the fit, and I think Max Johnson has a ton of potential. And look, I know Miles is an older guy, and I get that. But the best player plays. If you really want to win at this level, the best player has to play. And when I turn on the tape and then I look at the offense that Jake Peets and DJ and them want to run down there, it fits what Max does, not only from the ability to, scramble and run and do all these things, but it makes the RPO that much more dangerous. It makes the zone read that much more dangerous. It makes the jet sweep, where you don't know if it's going to be a play action or not, that much more dangerous. And the biggest part is now Jake has no problem. Not that Miles can't do sprint out or anything like that, but Max is able to get out quicker. He'll be able to boot quicker. He'll just be able to do things in that offense, because I think you're going to get a mixture a little bit of what you saw from Joe Brady, to kind of spread you out, throw to space, rub routes, NFL style, from the outside of the perimeter, outside the hashes. I think you're going to get a little bit of what you saw from Steve Sarkisian, being able to also line up tight, do things out of bunch sets, do things out of orbit motions where the guy's motioning behind the quarterback. You saw that a lot in the national championship game with Devontae Smith. And to be able to do that, the defense having to account for the quarterback running. Because, listen, you guys remember 2019. Every play that gets drawn up that scores typically doesn't go exactly like you thought it would. Whether that's somebody extending the play and it turns into a scramble drill and you hit Boutte for a touchdown, or maybe, the corner plays a different leverage and you have to do something else. But the ability to extend the play, the ability to move the pocket, the ability to make the defense have to say, all right, listen, if we're going to have to spy this guy, we're going to have to take the guy out of coverage. Well, we don't really want to go two-man, because then we're going to have to stunt the front. And if they run the back out, the mic's gone and Max may go for 70. So it creates so many more problems in preparation for the defense. That's why I think Max Johnson needs to be the starter.
Jay Crain from the J-Boys show is you hear that answer right there. That's one of the reasons why you got to check out his podcast.
I thought it was Merrill Hodge.
Great information, a great analyst, and has got great connections. He's got great relationships as well. He brings on great guests. As we said, he was talking to Brad Johnson late last week. All right, before we get to today and preview some of the other teams in the conference, tell me where you got LSU going into the season.
Well, I got LSU finishing second in the West, and I think they're actually going to have an identical record to A&M at the end of the year, but A&M goes to LSU the last week of the regular season in the SEC. I think LSU is going to win that game. And look, I think, and I'm not going to bet against Saban, guys. I'm just not going to do it. I don't care if they had to replace everything except the tires from the bus. I'm not going to bet against Saban. But when I look at this LSU team, like I said, I think they're going to be pissed off. I really did that. And when I was talking to Stingley yesterday, I could just feel it from him a little bit. And, like I said, coached for 9 years, and I got good instincts on guys. And he is so ready to go. He wanted to literally cover me as I was walking out of the building. That's how ready to go he is. He was smiling. He was excited. He's so excited to play with Ricks and those guys. But what I like about LSU is we all know how talented they are. They'll never be void of talent. But I really think they're all going in the same direction this year, which is one of the hardest things to do as a coach. And when you're able to do that, and they need to start off well, guys, because again, snowballs roll downhill. That's why I can use that expression without cursing. But they've got to be able to. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. There we go. Cool. That's true. That's true, man. I've been doing too much, just true rated stuff. That's my fault. But no, I really believe at the end of the day, when you look at this LSU team, not only this year, but I think they're going to have a huge year 2 years from now as well. When Mason Smith is your third-string defensive tackle, a kid that would start as a true freshman at most places, I believe in that team.
Do you think it's more – we've had this conversation around the studio a little bit. Do you think it's more important for LSU to win the first game against UCLA and drop an SEC West game, albeit to whomever, or to lose to UCLA and maybe have a run-of-the-mill SEC West season?
Yeah, we can't lose to the Pac-12, man. Here's what I think. Football, just like life, is a game of momentum and ankles. That's what it is. And when you go out and you got all this stuff going on outside the peripheral and stuff like this, you go out, you beat UCLA, you come back, you get some more momentum. I think it propels you into the SEC season where you are confident. You go out there and lose to UCLA, all of a sudden it's, oh no, here we go again.
LSU, the quarterback.
It just becomes, everybody becomes the coach, and they need to do this and they need to do that. And Is Edo on the hot seat? Because you guys don't listen. If they go out and lose to UCLA, people are going to start saying Edo's on the hot seat.
Oh, for sure.
They really are, in my opinion, with everything going on. So they need to go out there, go out to Cali, grab you a dub, get back on the bus, party a little bit, get on the plane, get back to Baton Rouge, and get ready for week 2. They do that. I think that's the most important thing.
J-Boy showing why he fits in well around here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You'll get your chance to beat Josh Heupel today, wearing Tennessee orange. You'll see Lane Kiffin in with Matt Corral, who a lot of people talking yesterday believe him to be the best quarterback in the league. Where do you see the star power at that position with only 3 quarterbacks making the trip over to Hoover this week and Corral being one of them? Do you meet the best quarterback in the conference today with Corral coming from Oxford?
Yes. Yes, I do. When you watch Matt, and I'll say this, I don't know if I've seen in a while, outside of and really just talking about Joe Brady and Joe Burrow, but a better, we used to call it the triangle, the head coach, the OC, and the quarterback when the head coach is an offensive guy, other than Lane Kiffin, Jeff Lebby, and Matt Corral. And when you watch Matt, the thing that I like about Matt that, you turn on the game Saturday and you see him doing well, and, he had a couple bad games last year, but you're like, man, this guy's so athletic and so talented. Matt prepares at a very, very high level. It's stuff that you don't see. It's spending extra time in the film room. It's understanding, all right, the corner's playing outside leverage here. It's going to be cover 2. Here's where I can attack. He's playing inside leverage. It's going to be his own coverage, probably quartered, maybe cover 6 if they run some of the combo stuff. So he understands what he's looking at. Him and Lane are so on the same page. Him and Levy are so on the same page that the difference at this level, guys, there's so many talented guys. You put all these quarterbacks in the room, a lot of them are talented. You take the names off, and you would have a totally different order than what it actually was. What separates guys at this level, there's 2 things, preparation and instinct. And Matt Corral has those 2 things at a very important position. He's also a leader. And look, when you feel like you have freedom, in my opinion, that's been the difference in Georgia being able to get over the hump against Alabama. When you have freedom as a quarterback and a play caller, you become very, very dangerous. And when you look at Ole Miss, I'm big on Braylon Sanders. I know they lost Elijah Moore. I know they lost Boa. I'm big on Mingo. And listen, Lane and Levy are going to score points, but Matt sets them up, and I really think his decision-making is going to continue to improve. I love the way his athleticism, like I said, being able to extend the play, something we talked about with Max earlier. So at the end of the day, I think Matt Corral is the best quarterback in the league. I saw those PSF rankings and almost laughed till I puked.
Has Tennessee gotten it right with Heupel, in your opinion?
Listen, here's the way I feel about that hire, and I tell Josh this to his face. I probably will today. It's like I feel like Josh, this relationship is like the girl you date before you find the one you're going to marry for Tennessee. Like you look at the NCAA storm cloud that's coming. They're going to hit them with at least a year of probation. They're going to lose scholarships. It's a stopgap hire to me. And what I'm interested to see is I don't think this isn't UCF. This isn't the AAC. You can't sit here and go warp speed on offense when you don't have the personnel to do it. And believe me, Tennessee does not have the personnel offensively or defensively because everybody just thinks about the repercussions on offense. If you start going fast like this, you get a quick 3 and out, whatever. Where it gets you is the defense. And Tennessee does not have a lot of depth on defense. So if you want to go warp speed and you get 2 or 3 and outs and you're down 14-0, and all of a sudden by the third quarter your defense has already been on the field for 75 plays, you are going to get blown out of the water. To me, it's almost like going to see the Globetrotters play. It's going to be really good on offense. The final score really doesn't matter because it's not a real league, even though it is a real league in the SEC. But for Tennessee this year, I think it's a stopgap hire. That's no knock on Josh Heupel, but they weren't going to get Billy Napier with all this stuff going on. They weren't going to go get Jamie Chadwell with all this. Why would those guys that built up equity at those places waste it going into Tennessee and when the SEC is at its all-time high and you're going to have to fight with your hands tied behind your back? So they got to get through this storm cloud. They need to get the allegations out there. They need to find out. I know the administration up there is pressing to please just tell us what the penalty is. What do we need to self-impose? So look, Josh is a good guy. Danny White hired the guy that worked for him before when he was at UCF. But no, I don't think Tennessee, I don't think this will be a long marriage. I think they'll stick around for the kids a little bit and then break it off.
Kirby Smart, this morning, will be featured with Georgia. It seems like he's got a really good team and he might have a quarterback. Where do you see Georgia competing in the East this season?
I got Georgia win the national championship, boys and girls.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. And listen, guys. I haven't been in, and it's still weird to say this, in media for not even a year yet. So I haven't been one of these people that have been like, well, Georgia's going to win it this year. No, Georgia's going to win it this year. No, Georgia's going to win it this year. I look at the roster and I look at the schedule, and I just talked about that triangle between Lane, Levy, and Matt. I think the triangle of Kirby, Todd Monken, and JT Daniels, and really the mixture of Todd Monken and JT Daniels, is going to let Kirby say, you know what? It's almost like having a Zen garden in front of him. You know what? We're just going to let the offense ride. I think Georgia may pass the run this year, believe it or not. And I know they have a stable in the backfield. You got James Cook, you got Milton, you got McIntosh, you got Zeus, you got all these guys. But JT Daniels, like Matt Corral, is an unbelievable student of the game. I love their wide receiver core because a lot of people don't talk about, Georgia's wide receiver core has really let them down. They've really let them down. And you'd have thought when Pickens goes down, oh no. But then you look around, you got Kyrus Jackson, you got Blaylock. Darnell Washington at tight end is straight out of Mordor, guys. 6'7", 285, can snatch it out of the air. And then you look at Eric Gilbert, who's going to be eligible. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
He's going to be eligible. Yeah, I know, right? Thank goodness. Thank goodness for what is it? University of Phoenix. I guess Larry Fitzgerald might help.
Yeah, right.
But
All-American online.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But no, man, just looking at it, Georgia's roster, and again, what was the deficiency people were saying? Well, the secondary. They were almost to the point going through spring where they were going to have to mix up the defense because they didn't have the depth in the secondary, believe that or not, with a Kirby Smart coach team. Then they add Tyke Smith, who may be a day one, day two guy in the NFL draft. They're going to put it nickel. You had Darion Kendrick, one of the only guys to leave Clemson's defense, goes to Georgia, and a bad spat of irony. I think that's absolutely hilarious. He's got NFL talent as well. You add that with the other guys that they have, and up front with Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean in the middle. I think Georgia gets over the hump because Kirby takes a deep breath and says, Todd, JT, y'all go get this butter, boys.
Do you have them beating Clemson week 1?
Yeah, well, wow. I think that may be the best bet. That may be the best bet of the year. I mean, you got Georgia +4. If you're feeling a little dangerous, take a money line. Here's my thing. Look, Clemson is a really good – Dabo's built an SEC team over there. That's really what he's done. Mm-hmm. And I understand they return a lot on defense. But I really believe offensively they're going to struggle a little bit against Georgia. I've got to see DJ. And listen, I saw, DJ went and tore it up in the ACC and against Notre Dame and all this stuff. But what happens when all those teams end up playing SEC team? They get folded like a cheap IKEA 10 anyway. So when I'm looking at it this year, I think Georgia not only beats Clemson, I think Georgia runs the table and Kirby Smart becomes the first former Saban assistant to beat him in the SEC championship.
Wow. J-Boy Show. The podcast runs every day. Jake Crain is there in Hoover. You can find him at the J-Boy Show on social media. What can the fans expect today and the coverage of Hoover? How do we find you and how do we keep up?
Oh yeah. Well, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We actually just dropped our Volume 1 of SEC Media Days this morning. We talked to T-Bob Hebert, a guy you guys know very well. Talking to some Edo, LSU. We're also going to drop our interview with Austin Deculus and Derek Stingley Jr. this afternoon. So everybody needs to go to @JBoyNotes right now on Twitter. Our @TheJBoy Show account got hacked. Surprise, surprise. They're working on it right now, but we all know, how slow Twitter is. Unless it's political, they don't help you out for a while. So, and I'm not going down that route. But just now, everybody go check us out. We're going to be dropping content all day and, throughout basically every day. So subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Hit that like button as well. Comment if you want, good or bad. I love dissent. Echo chambers will be the death of us all. Coaching is dissent. And I really appreciate you guys having me on, Jordy. It was great to see you yesterday, my friend.
Great to see you, bro. Looking forward to the home and home in the football season and sharing information.
For sure.
Thank you, man. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
All right, bro. There is J-Boy, Jake Crain, checking in this morning from SEC Media Days.
Wow, he's got the information.
He's got great info.
He's got great info. He's been in coaching. I know everything now.
He's been in coaching for 10 years, and then he got into the podcast. But I love his take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he puts it out there.
He does.
JT Daniels is somebody to bet on if you're a Georgia fan. He's something that you've never had. It's something that
Justin Fields
that Kirby Smart. Well, I mean, they weren't smart enough to keep him.
Hell of an up back on the punt team, though. That's where they put him.
But great information from J-Boy. Check out his content at the J-Boy Show podcast. Jake Crain, of course, a part of the J-Boy Show. Remember, GoFlow IV and Spa. They're located on Jefferson Highway, 7970 Jefferson Highway. You can follow them on social media at GoFlowIV. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Get over there and check out some of the IVs that they can give you. Anti-aging, if you're looking for B12 and looking for energy, vitamin C, immune system boosts, or maybe you just need a hangover cure. You can take care of all of that over at GoFlow IV and Spa, your hydration and wellness partner. You can contact them online by going to goflowiv.com. That's GEAUX, flowiv.com, or just stop in and see them right there on Jefferson Highway, 7970 Jefferson Highway. Tell them you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
What did you get? Did you just get the cocktail?
We got a couple of things. I believe
They got the cocktail. Must be nice.
I believe we got the Myers cocktail.
Yeah, you got that.
I got the Myers cocktail,
the
which
Glow
was overall health and wellness, migraine relief,
Got those all the time.
B12 and B complex, which is for energy, B5, B6, magnesium, and vitamin C. And then we got a shot.
Yeah, we got a little boost.
We got a little booster, and then what did you get? I think Katie.
I think your
Katie
hair's
got,
growing back.
Katie got the Glow, the GLEAUX, which is anti-aging, illness recovery, vitamin C, glutathione,
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what you're putting in your body?
and B5.
I think it's
GoFlow can explain everything that they're putting inside your body.
I just wanted to let you know you have the town talking. Everybody wants a little GoFlow in them.
Really?
My mother wants it. My
I know,
father
she was
wants it.
texting
She's
me,
like, how do we
"What's
get
the
this
skinny
done? How do we
shot?"
do this
Oh,
stuff? So-
sweet. Tell them to
People
go
are
to Jefferson
DMing.
Highway and drop the Jordy Culotta show.
Or just mail a couple banana bags this way. We got a doctor in the house, so he can stick you.
All right, we will be back hour 2. We're going to talk about LSU baseball and Jay Johnson cleaning up, man. They might have taken him one way from Ogeron yesterday.
Oh, I saw that.
I mean,
he's got a offside linebacker in his Twitter handle. He's like 4-star OLB, and he's throwing 97 off the bump.
I
Like,
mean,
who
he's
is this
a
kid?
top 30 linebacker in the country. He signs with LSU baseball, and he tells LSU football, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, these guys see what this Jay Johnson guy's
He's
selling.
pledging to Jay Johnson and LSU baseball as they're continuing to clean up. We'll tell you all about that 1 hour down. Good stuff from Jay Boy and Jake Crain. He's over in Hoover, Alabama. If you're looking to keep up with SEC Media Days, it's about to get underway here. Today, tomorrow, going to be very busy days over in Hoover as 4 teams will be featured on both days. As today, it'll be Tennessee and Georgia in the morning session, and then Kentucky and Ole Miss in the afternoon session. And Jay Boy and Jake Crain and their crew will have all of the coverage. So make sure you're keeping up with them on social media. And are subscribed to the podcast and the YouTube station over there with Jake. When we come back, you got something?
Oh, just to see if they shout out any must wins or guarantee any wins on Twitter. See if they can keep up with the Culotta show.
Yes. Hour 2 of the Jordy Culotta show coming up here, presented every single day by Go Chevrolet. Remember, check out Lee Carney, Nick Richard, their crew, Laplace, Louisiana, right here in Baton Rouge for Go Express Auto Sales, as you can find them online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. The Jordy Culotta show rolling on after this. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet, is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Brandon Dixon, what's the name of J-Boy's dealer? I need his info. Brian and Ann Penton says, I'm sorry, JT Daniels hasn't proved nothing. He is trying to get people to listen to his podcast. I don't think that's facts, Brian. A lot of people listen to his podcast. Brian asked, what the hell is he smoking, talking about J-Boy? So a lot of people, Carl Dunn says he's got good stuff, but J-Boy is drinking early this morning, thinking UGA is going to win the Natty.
What's their schedule?
Let me pull it up.
Georgia's
Let me pull it up.
Their
It's
it's Clemson, Florida, Kentucky, Auburn. Probably are their hardest games.
I mean, I don't know. Georgia has to pop at some point, right? Like they've
You would
been.
think.
They're not playing Bama. They're
You
not
would
playing
think.
LSU. Compared to what Florida has to play.
You would think. They open up September 4th versus Clemson, which is going to be a phenomenal opening weekend of football. I mean, my goodness, man. And then they go to, let's see here. From September, they go UAB, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Auburn. So Arkansas and Auburn are the two West teams. For Auburn, of course, is the permanent opponent for Georgia. So Arkansas is the rotator this year.
Great draw.
That is a good draw. Kentucky and Florida. So they're October. They've got Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, and Florida. Looks like that's going to be their toughest 4-game stretch.
Only Auburn's away.
Then they're going to, in November, they will play Missouri. They will play Tennessee. They will play Charleston. And then they will play Georgia Tech. So when you look at their schedule, outside of Clemson, Florida yesterday, they were the other team that was featured with LSU and South Carolina. Their personnel is going to be down.
I'm hearing Emory Jones. People are saying Emory Jones Heisman.
Garbage. Emory Jones ain't no chance he's sniffing a Heisman Trophy.
I'm interested.
I mean, I love Dan Mullen. He's a quarterback whisperer. He does good stuff with the quarterback position. But Emory Jones seems like a square into a
well, that's the opposite of
hole.
what he said. He goes, I don't like to fit people. He's like, that's what you have to do as a great quarterbacks coach. You don't fit them into a certain position. You don't fit a square peg into a round hole. So he said he's going to tailor his game plan to Emory Jones.
When have we seen Dan Mullen coach Emory Jones? Think of the line: Alex Smith, Tim Tebow, Dak Prescott, all of his quarterbacks at Mississippi State. Trask last season, Felipe Franks at Florida. I mean, who fits the mold of Emory Jones? Who on his list, his roster of quarterbacks that he has coached, looks anything like Emory Jones? To me, he is a great quarterbacks coach, arguably the best quarterbacks coach in college football. You see some of the attention that NFL scouts and NFL decision makers give him. He looks like he has got a high reputation amongst all of football minds as being a quarterback coach and almost a whisperer to a degree. But
his wife's a whisperer too.
Whoa, French whisperer.
Whatever helps on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
So
That is so
cringy.
strange, bro.
I don't
That's so
understand.
weird. Somebody explain that to me.
I can't.
Why Dan Mullen's wife makes out with all the guys when they get off the bus,
and
bro.
the fans are sensitive about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, because
Glass
it's
house.
Well, I mean, you
I did
can
not
see
know.
it. I mean, there's no denying it. It's right there.
I thought it
So
was
it's
odd.
so weird.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
It's
It is.
so weird.
I thought it was a little friendly joke, and they just did not like that at all.
I mean, you got to kiss 60 people.
yeah, that's a super
And you
spreader.
know that somebody, I mean, they're college kids.
Yeah.
They're college young adults. I mean,
The jokes write themselves.
Somebody,
I know.
somebody is going to try to jam their tongue down Mullen's wife's throat, right?
You can
I mean,
see it in the
if
photos.
she's
like,
open mouth kissing and she's staring at you in your face
yes,
by
so
pinching your
much eye
cheeks,
contact and touching.
and they're so close to each other, there's got to be that guy.
Somebody's
that
caught
says, I hate Dan Mullen. I'm going in this morning. I'm making out with his wife, and then I'm transferring, bro.
this morning.
I'm going right in front of the ESPN cameras as soon as I get off the bus. When she grabs my cheek, I'm grabbing hers back, and I'm mugging her down against the bus.
Watch my right hand.
God.
I mean, they have to have like a pot of money in the middle of the floor and be like $1 every game. Like everybody puts up $1, whoever gets a
I
tongue.
thought it was so weird that because Tom Herman does this too.
Yeah, but he's kissing.
Tom Herman kisses his players as they go out on the field, which to me is how that
weird.
lasted in recruiting and how that didn't get smoked out just by either somebody in the locker room or somebody in recruiting. Like calling him out on that is amazing. But to me, this is more strange than that.
It
Like
is.
to have your wife in the locker room. I get that we're a family. You know what I mean? I get that the players are probably coming over for dinner in the off season, and
Dinner.
we were yeah, right.
Dessert.
Goodness. But this is too far. This is too much. This is too much, man.
Talked about enough.
Don't they have
No one
kids?
talks about this.
I mean, don't they have kids? Don't you think that some of their kids would be at school and be like, my dad said your mom makes out with all the football players, man. You know what I mean?
You're not at school here
you know what I
anymore.
mean, this is what's going on with your family, man. I mean, like, what is happening?
I run a wide open offense.
It's just it's wide open. It's just so
It's so
strange. to see.
strange.
I don't even know what we were talking about before we got off.
You're
Every
talking about Dan
Jones.
being a great quarterback coach, a quarterback
Yeah.
whisperer.
He is,
Yeah.
His wife also is
but
a
he's
quarterback
not.
whisperer.
He's not. I've never
Speaking
seen.
in tongues.
I've never seen him coach Emory Jones. I've never seen him coach that style. I've never seen him coach that type of player every single down. I thought that he almost force fed Emory Jones into the game plan the past couple of seasons. I mean, when he put him in 2019 against, it was like, what are you doing, bro? I mean, Trask is dicing this guy's up. I mean, he's got Stingley on skates. They couldn't. Van Jefferson and Kyle Pitts were doing anything they wanted against that 2019 defense. UDL's under construction.
Dicing him up.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's right.
But then Emory Jones comes in, didn't he throw a touchdown pass?
touchdown,
And
yeah.
He did.
very lucky.
He did.
Patrick
It was a
Quinn all
pop
over
up,
that
dude.
thing,
I mean,
yeah.
it was a look what I found
Yeah.
type thing.
I think it was to like go into halftime.
I know it's bad timing, but I think the only reason I bring it up is because he puts a lot of run influences into his game plan. He has a lot of run heavy packages where it's very RPO, it's quarterback key.
Dude, they're gonna
And
have
he's
a good game plan.
Yeah,
No,
but
no,
he's
no.
never had a quarterback
Dan
that can run
Mullen-
this way. I think it opens up a whole new avenue for him.
Mullen's going to have a really good game plan. He's just too good of a coach. I mean, he's just too good of a football mind not to be prepared. I mean, he's just going to be ready to play you, but he just seems limited to me with Emory Jones.
Did they think they could beat Bama when talking to?
You know, I talked to a couple of their players yesterday. The linebacker that was there, Quinn Jackson, maybe.
Oh, big neck.
Yes.
traps for days.
You know, they feel like they can, but I got to be honest, man. I mean, the feeling around Alabama is like just,
Them and everybody else.
yeah, it really
it
does.
always is.
It really
Well,
does.
Jordy's
Sick of that.
indoctrined into this
I love
Tuscaloosa
T-Town.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now,
he's an
I mean-
Alabama native.
It's
You don't even hate him anymore, do you?
I don't, which is
Man.
very discouraging to me.
I
I know.
Tuscaloosa had that kind of effect on
I know.
you.
It'll only take a game.
I
Once
fell
he
in love
sees
with
him play,
Tuscaloosa.
once he sees Bama play, and he's
I'm
like,
scared that I'm going to see him play and fall deeper in love with
Oh,
him
Jordy.
because of
Love
this
Tuscaloosa?
affair that I'm having with them right now.
gonna go to games.
Yes, Jack. I fell in love with Tuscaloosa
Place
this weekend.
sucks.
Easy, Jack. You're experiencing that from
I
University
really
and
like
McFarland Avenue only.
True, okay,
Have
true.
you not gone down to the downtown, to the waterway, to the
No.
Riverwalk, to the
Lake
farmers market,
Tuscaloosa.
I've
to
been past-
Waysiders breakfast
I've
that
been
you can
past
get
the
into at
train
5:30 in
tracks.
the morning? There you go.
He's like the spokesperson for Tuscaloosa.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Now I understand. You only went down a street.
It was clean though.
It's beautiful. It is. I mean, Tuscaloosa is a beautiful town. It's very clean.
It's an
and it
extension
is,
of the campus.
it is everything that Baton
Will not
Rouge
stand for this slander.
cannot be.
Oh, come on. Let's have that Baton Rouge grit.
Yeah, you need you need a little dirt in the punch bowl.
Baton Rouge grit. Did you see this with the Olympics? That Toyota has pulled all of their advertising for the Summer Olympics, which is set to begin in the home country of Toyota next week. It seems like things are trending in the wrong direction right now. I am worried about going to Los Angeles for the UCLA opener.
Wait, why
Los
did
Angeles
Toyota
County.
pull?
I guess they're not agreeing with the Summer Olympics going on.
Oh.
While much of the media of attention, I'm reading from
didn't
our
see
friend
that.
Barrett Sports Media at bsm.com. Barrett Sports Media is a great resource for news, and he writes, while much of the attention in the U.S. regarding the Summer Olympics is centered around the basketball team, media in the host country of Japan are playing a different tune, as Tokyo is under its fourth state of emergency as cases in the city are still prevalent. This has caused some uneasiness among the city's residents, as evident by recent approval ratings for the decision to continue to host the games. That public sentiment has led to Toyota, which is headquartered in Japan, to pull out of its Olympic television commercials. The car manufacturer signed an 8-year deal worth $1 billion with the Olympics in 2015. Toyota will still provide hundreds of vehicles to assist with the games and promote its sponsored athletes, but they will not be running their advertising buy within the Olympic Games. After hope that delaying the Olympics for a year would provide for an environment more similar to the previous years, the 2021 Games are shaping up to be anything but normal. For starters, no fans in the stands, foreign or domestic. The medal ceremonies will unfortunately not be on the podiums. They have
changed
already
the beds, too.
pulled it. Yeah, I saw that they are now issuing cardboard beds.
That's not true.
not?
For
No,
Okay,
someone
good.
got him jumped on the bed to prove it, that it wasn't like that.
Well, they're not. It's not exactly a honeymoon suite.
No, it's not. But it's not what they. It's not what was put out.
I mean,
there.
they're breaking that cardboard. Somebody's breaking curfew. There are too many beautiful people.
Too
in
many
that.
strong
too many-
hamstrings and beautiful people.
Yes, God, a hamstring.
Nicholas Cole, fall in love with Bama and watch how fast your following goes down here, Culotta. Brian Penton, Jordy, you can offer me $1 billion to come visit Tuscaloosa, and I would turn it down.
Tuscaloosa.
I'm just telling you, man, if you have not been to downtown Tuscaloosa, it is what Baton Rouge should be. They have made everything pedestrian. You can walk everywhere. You can experience the Riverwalk. And above all else, everything is clean. Everything feels clean. You don't have to worry about the
spent
crime.
time in other small college towns?
I have.
Oxford, Starkville.
Athens was my favorite
Athens
before
is
this.
my favorite.
Athens to
Aside
me,
from Baton Rouge, obviously.
Athens to me was built for college.
Yes.
That is a true college town.
They all are. All
also
those
very
small
clean.
towns are.
Yes.
Alabama, this has got
I'm
to go. We
telling
got to
you,
get this
bro.
out of you. I don't
I'm
know what
telling
we
you,
need to.
man.
Settle back in.
You
You're
need
back.
some go
You're
flow.
home now. You're home now. Settle back in. You need to get one tailgate under your
Yeah,
belly,
yeah, that'll
and
change it.
you'll understand what LSU is all about again.
It's not the football experience, and I'm not railing on LSU.
Just the
I'm
city.
railing on the city. I'm going at SWB. I'm going at the leadership, Sharon Weston Broom. I'm going
like-
I'm going at
We all do.
I'm going at the leadership in Baton Rouge. It's a joke. It is an absolute joke to go somewhere else and to see what reinvesting in the community really can do for a place. I mean, I'm not here to rail on everything, but I know that we talked to Senator Rick Ward, stopped by our show a couple of weeks back, and his infrastructure bill is supposed to be something that our state has never seen, a first of its kind. But you travel outside the state, and I'm talking about places like Mississippi and Alabama, like 48, 49, 50 in all of the statistics. In Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, their roads are so much better than ours. I mean, like there's no trash on the side of the interstate. There's no look, and I'm not trying to get there, man. I'm just saying that's where this is coming from. To go to a city and see it. Yes, I hate Alabama fans. I cannot stand anybody that preaches the word of Alabama football every time you meet him. I understand what the bottom 1% of football fans in the country look like, and they're all wearing crimson and white. But when you just go to their town and you just see what they have done as far, and a lot of that has been spurred by the success of the football program, team, right? Yes. I mean, the money that they have provided or given the opportunity for capitalists to make in Tuscaloosa has been taken advantage of, is all I'm saying. And when you look at Baton Rouge, they continue to be stuck in the dark ages of just presentation, man. You know what I mean? Just the overall presentation of the city. And to spend a weekend in Tuscaloosa, a place that I went in with a bias that I wanted to hate, right? I mean, I didn't want to like anybody there. I wasn't trying to like any of their anything that they offered.
Early morning
and their early breakfasts in their clean city.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I wore an LSU football shirt to this place called the Waysider on Saturday morning, and it felt like we were eating inside of the Alabama locker room. I mean, everything around us was nothing but Alabama football. The carpet was crimson.
Yeah.
The tablecloths were crimson and white. I mean,
the mayonnaise is red.
It was just... Okay, you guys like Bama, huh? You know what I mean?
Oops.
I mean, I've got this LSU shirt on, and when I walked up to the register, I mean, the guy was like, hell, I wish I'd have seen your shirt. I'd charge you more. But they were nice. They were cool. They were funny. And they laugh at us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you see that old poster from New Orleans back in 2011? We beat LSU. Look, it's right there above your right shoulder. Yeah, bro, I saw it. So, that's all I'm saying. I'm not railing on LSU football. I'm not, and it's not going to take a tailgating experience for me to fall back. I love my city. I love Louisiana. You'll be hard pressed to find anybody who loves and is passionate about where we are from than me. The reason why I am voicing this is because I want that. I want to be able to. I want somebody to come into our city for the weekend, think that they're going to hate it, and walk away loving it because of the hospitality and how clean it is. You know what I mean? That ain't going to happen.
No.
You get the first part of that sentence.
Huh?
Yeah, it's not.
The hospitality's there.
Yeah.
You got to take a couple of ribs, but we're good for it.
Yeah.
So
just don't win. Just don't come in and win.
Comment. Yeah. Whatever. I'm not going to T-Town.
I hear you. Maybe go to Athens. You know what I mean? Somewhere else and check it out. But where a lot of people are going, if you're interested in college baseball, is to Baton Rouge.
Yes.
Because my man Jay Johnson is an animal. Johnson is cleaning up on the recruiting trail. I mean, he picked up his latest commitment is a guy by the name of Robbie Snelling, who comes out of Reno, Nevada, a left-handed pitcher and a 4-star linebacker. Cats ranked the number 28 linebacker, was ranked the 28th linebacker according to 247 and some of the recruiting services as a top 30 linebacker in the country. He's the number 7 overall prospect in the state of Nevada, and that is going by 247 composite rankings. But yesterday was quoted in saying, and he told this to Go 247, at this time last year, I would have never thought I would be making a decision before my football season this year. But everything fell the way it did, and I have made my mind up to commit to LSU for baseball. I feel like I can put all my energy toward my team. I put a lot of thought into the decision. When I was down in Louisiana for one of my baseball tournaments, I just kind of fell in love with everything. There you go. Yeah. There you go. There you go, Snelling. There you go. I mean, if we're showing off the box, if we're just showing off the box, he says, I'm psyched. There's no doubt about that. The Pac-12 is nothing to blink at from a baseball standpoint, and obviously we see that year in, year out. But when you got when you get out to the SEC, it's a different world out there. The support you have from the whole state Everybody that is surrounding the school gets on board, and I'm definitely excited about that. I was really close to committing to Arizona just because of Coach Johnson. So once he left and changed, that was all up in the air. When we got over to LSU, toured everything unofficially, it was just awesome in Baton Rouge, and we loved it. Right now, the plan for me is to be playing football my senior year, and we'll see how that shakes out. We talked a little bit with the football staff at LSU. I had actually had a call into them to touch base, and we ended up having a good conversation. But right now, with how their linebacker room is setting up, I'll be a watch and follow guy for them for the next year. Depending on how football goes for me this season, it could be a thing I do at LSU. But for right now, it is all baseball.
Wow.
I mean,
Jay
when's
Johnson.
the last time you heard anything like that? Never.
Right?
Never
It's the other way.
with a football, baseball. I mean, even think back to Maurice Hampton's recruitment a couple of years ago. I mean, if you were probably evaluating Hampton his senior year in high school, he was a stud football player, recognized as Mr. Tennessee, best football player in the state of Tennessee his senior year. But he was also a sandwich round draft pick in the Major League Baseball draft, which you know is right there on the fringe of a first round pick. He turned down $2 million to go to LSU and play football and baseball, and then he gets here and he falls out of love with baseball, which cost him his football career. This guy is talking about that he's got a chance to possibly play at LSU, but doesn't give a damn. All he's concerned about is being able to play baseball for Jay Johnson and the Tigers, as he is continuing. It's a lefty, big lefty, throws hard in the class, and he's only the latest for Johnson to jump aboard. I mean, we saw another key addition earlier this week as he got the catcher from Live Oak, who was on the fence for LSU and I believe was set to go to a junior college and ended up pledging to come here to LSU. They also picked up a couple of more transfers from the portal.
Just an overhaul.
Riley Cooper and Bryce Collins both announced that they were transferring to LSU to jump aboard the pitching staff. These were true freshmen at Arizona last season. Cooper is a hard-throwing left-hander who went 3-0 as a freshman last season. So LSU now, Jacob Berry, Eric Reiselman, Tyler McManus. We mentioned the guys Bryce Collins and Riley Cooper. They pick up a commitment from the hard-throwing lefty.
Our boy Trey.
That we just talked about, Robbie Snelling. Yeah, I mean, Trey Schaefer, who was here last week from Southeastern. I mean, this LSU baseball team is going to look
Mikey
completely different. What did Romero get drafted?
He still has a year. He still got a senior
Oh,
year.
he's
to
going
go in
into
high
his senior
school.
year. He's
Yeah.
going into his senior
He has a
year.
girlfriend that's going to Baylor. I was sleuthing on his Instagram last night.
Okay.
So maybe that would be a reason to stay close
Okay.
to home. LSU,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
Baylor's not that easy.
Don't worry,
John,
we'll find
we'll
someone.
take her too.
Wait, we
That's
can't
fine.
get. Yeah, right. I mean, we no LSU there.
No, she had some Baylor stuff on, so I'm assuming she's all Baylor. But what if Mikey comes over to Baton Rouge, easy transfer. Those credits come right on
Yeah,
over.
Easy. We've seen it too many times.
Yeah.
So
Student of the year.
student athlete of the week.
What a ballsy post.
Golly.
He did that work here.
Yeah. I mean, first week he's in Athens.
My book report was done in Crain.
Unbelievable, bro. Daily, we're brought to you by AdvantaClean. Remember, you can get in touch with Bradley Lynch and his crew over at AdvantaClean just by simply logging online to advantaclean.com. That is water, fire, mold damage, any of it that you may have around the house or office. AdvantaClean can help you out. They've helped us out. We flooded a couple of weeks back, and they've been tremendous, man. Whether it was the team getting in here and cleaning up the flood to being able to keep in touch with the contractors and the insurance agents and everything that goes around in the reconstruction and the rebuilding, AdvantaClean has been there every step of the way. Let them help you out this morning if you've got trouble inside of your office or your house just by logging online to AdvantaClean.com. Tell Bradley Lynch that you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Personal testimonies, man. I've worked alongside Lynch now for almost a year. And have so many success stories that I can pass along. I've told you the Christmas Day story when he came over here at noon when I just discovered a water spot on my roof. He was here 15 minutes later to the morning that we flooded. He was the first call that I made, and he navigated the city to get over here within about 20 minutes and had us on the right direction, taking care of us and getting us set up with everybody. Let Bradley Lynch take care of you this morning. Log online to Advantaclean, ADVANTA, clean.com, ADVANTA, clean.com, and they will get you set up. Remember, Advantaclean, a proud supporter here of the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll reset and talk a little bit about more news before we get out of here, like Eli and Peyton Manning now being a part of Monday Night Football. Arch Manning set to make his trip to Oxford, Mississippi, where the Manning name means so much, later this month. How about Joey B? Livy Dunn hanging in Malibu.
Speaking of mouth kissing,
that is a couple of power players there on social media, just happening to run into each other in Malibu.
how trim did he look?
He looked great.
He looks good. Whoever brand that shirt is, it needs to find its way into my closet.
He
gave him abs.
He looked fantastic.
Has there been a bigger transformation from day one to where he is now?
What are we looking at day one?
Just strictly looks. He showed up. Remember,
We know the teeth.
We know
the teeth are different,
but he showed up.
But I always thought that his locks were a good look.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that body wise, he was a little pale. He had like the
Very
Fat Boys
Ohio.
burger shirt.
Yeah,
Very
it was
Ohio.
And then if you
Very
fast
Ohio.
forward
Yeah.
now, it's a different person.
Well, if you know his brother Danny Burrow, Danny had experienced the South a couple of years prior to Joe and started to make the transformation. I mean, he had the tan going, he had the cut. He had started to develop the six-pack, and then the next thing you know, his brother becomes the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. And Ogeron had that great quote where he said, "I don't know who's going to miss playing LSU football more, Joey or Dan." Just because
I'm living here.
I mean, because Dan, if you were running with Dan, it felt like you were running with Joe.
His entourage.
I mean, I was hanging with Danny for the national championship game, and I felt like we were with the starting quarterback for LSU. I mean, we got into every place. I mean, just flash the license, Danny. Oh, you're a Burrow. Yeah.
We were expecting you.
Come this way. Right. We've got a table and bottle service for you right here, sir. Yes, I agree. The transformation that Joey has made. But now that he's got a little change in his pocket, you can see a little bit of the vanity starting to come out, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
Which I appreciate.
I know what I want to look like.
Very much, man. Put some cash in my pocket. Next thing you know, I look like Liberace. You know what I mean?
Just like shoes.
Yeah, that's right. But that was a hell of a social media post, right?
And LSU.
Yeah.
Was the caption "Go Tigers"?
Yeah.
Wow, strong.
Go strong.
That's strong. That's strong. All right, we'll be
marketing,
back
man.
here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Our good friends Lee Carney, Nick Richard taking care of Jack. They getting you set up?
Yeah, they gave me a new Hellcat.
Yeah?
Still got eligibility then.
Yeah.
Jack, you get a haircut?
Yeah, they faded me up.
Yeah, bro. Tight on
Yeah,
the
give it to me,
sides,
Go
let the
Chevrolet.
fluff on the top.
Yeah, that's that Noah cut.
Who cut your hair?
Mercer Supply.
Is
What?
that's not Nate on Chimes, is it?
No.
Mr. Nate.
I love Mr. Nate.
No, that guy's not cutting my hair.
I love that guy, bro.
Nate's plugged in.
Yes, he is.
If you think that
He is.
Yeah, if you think Alabama has a barbershop, you just go sit down with old Nate. You'll hear all the stories of the
Exactly
weekend.
right. Yes. You take a seat right here. Yes.
Same
It's
haircut
good to be
every
back.
time.
Good to be back. Same
Doesn't
one.
matter who you are.
Good to be back here on the Jordy Culotta Show as we are driven and powered every day by Go Chevrolet. We talked about SEC Media Days, day one. Coach Ogeron yesterday. I guess I didn't give my full remarks on what Ogeron said. I thought that he handled it well. I thought that he went through the day. I thought the low point yesterday for Ogeron was saying that he would hire Bo Pelini
I
again.
laughed out loud at that.
I mean,
question.
like, bro, no, don't say that.
And
Don't say that.
You've already taken the blame for it.
Yeah,
like, why
you-
double
you-
down?
You already took the bullet. I mean, you took the bullet saying that you didn't interview him and that you'll never do that again. But I think that was just, that's the machismo that comes out in Ogeron where he says that I'd have done it again. No, you wouldn't have. Bro. No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't.
I
No,
did
you
make a
wouldn't.
mistake, but I made a mistake.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you got Thamel in there, of course, trying to ruffle some feathers.
I thought he handled Thamel great. I thought he handled thanks for asking though.
Yeah.
Kind of like, hey, you tried, but you're still a
Thanks for
douchebag.
Yeah. Oh, you're here.
Yeah, right.
Good to hear from you, Peter.
So it was. I thought that Ogeron was great. I thought that Stingley was great. I thought Deculus was fantastic. I was talking to Derek in between rooms as Sting was kind of bouncing back and forth, and he was so far out of his element. I mean, you could feel his anxiety as he was walking up to Charles Hannegriff was there. Representing Match Point Connection, and I believe he filled in and did Jimmy Ont's show from Radio Row last night in Hoover, but it's kind of just bouncing around and networking Match Point Connection over in Hoover. And Charlie and I were remarking after sharing a couple of minutes with Stingley, just how he had no idea just how shy and reserved and uncomfortable he was in yesterday's environment. And while I know that there is a push to open him up and to show off, he does have some personality. He's one of those guys that he's very shy. He's very soft-spoken. But once you get him around his crew, once you get him around his group, once you get him on a football field, or once you just kind of get him in an element, he's very much at ease. He's very much himself. By no means is he socially awkward. It just seemed like
Just laid back.
he's very laid back, and he's just very soft spoken.
He looked great.
Looked fantastic.
Yeah.
The purple suit.
Yeah.
Woo.
Dripped
I like
out.
the
They
old
both
school
look
pocket
great.
square,
The
too.
purple
I
suit.
know.
I told him the gold watch with the purple
Yeah,
the
it
purple
was
suit was a
great.
great touch. He had the kind of that. What do they call the fat knot on a tie?
That's the Hodge knot, the Merrill Hodge, the
Is
double
that-
Windsor.
I mean, he had
double Windsor.
that thick knot going.
Yeah, he looked great.
And you can tell, and I agree. Brandon Dixon pointed this out inside of the bunker that Durante Jones has made a big impact on Stingley. And to me, it is more their personal relationship than it is the football stuff. Because I don't know if Derek will ever find a better defensive backs coach than his dad. Really, I mean, for everything that his dad has taught him growing up. I mean, that is when you talk to football experts, or you talk to like Dave Aranda. I remember talking to Dave Aranda after he had coached Stingley for like 3 weeks in Stingley's first spring. I was like, what is it about him? He said, he's just technically, he's flawless. He's perfect. The way that he plays technical football combined with his physical
Freak
skills.
show.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most physical, he's the most physically dominant out there, but yet he's the best tactician. You know what I mean? He's the one that really knows how to play scheme, knows how to play technique combined with how good of he is, just physically better than Aranda had ever seen. And a lot of that comes from early training from Sting Sr. I mean, he understands how to play the sideline and the guy better than anybody did his freshman year in college football. Mm-hmm. I mean, think of that play he made against Duvernay, against Texas, when he ran him out of bounds. I mean, he just shuffled him out of bounds. I mean, but really before Duvernay even realized what was happening.
Yeah, he was 12. He was 2 steps out of bounds.
He was 2 steps out of bounds.
Yeah,
right.
And his ability to be able to flip his head around is one of the most impressive things, because that's the last thing.
And track the ball.
Yes, that's the last thing that a DB, it feels like, ever learns, is to be able to, like, even if you feel beat or not, at least get your head around. You know where to throw it.
Find the ball.
Find the ball. Yes, and he has a sixth sense about when to flip his head and how to kind of maneuver people to make them uncomfortable in the routes. It really is unbelievable. It's his dad.
Yeah, it's his dad. I mean, his dad's been teaching him that since he's probably been 10 years old. Yeah, he's probably since little Jay's age. He's probably been learning how to play technically.
Understand leverage and everything like that. And
he started as an 8th grader on a varsity football team. I mean, that picture of him as an 8th grader out there alongside, it almost looks like it's fake. It almost looks like a cartoon because he's so, I mean, his pads don't fit him. His helmet's falling down below his eyes.
Go ahead, try him.
And he picked off a pass. I mean, not only is he out there, he's out there making plays. So,
well, didn't he train with his dad in Canada or the Arena Football League? Wasn't he like 10 and 11 and 12 years old out there with professionals running drills?
His dad was a head coach in Pittsburgh for a lot of the time during Sting's formal years of growing up, and he'd be out there working out with those guys. I mean, you could hear people. There's quotes of people saying, that I saw him when he was 8 to 12 years old and knew as soon as I laid my eyes on him, that cat is going to be a pro. So it was great to see him have that opportunity yesterday. I don't think that he's going to become the face of the program by any means because he's going to SEC Media Day, but I think that was a great experience for him. That was good for him to see. And moreover, I thought it was good for him to, and not that he needs this, but I thought you could see the smiles that he was getting when people outside of Baton Rouge, people from Florida, people from South Carolina, people from around the conference administrators, SEC administrators, walking up to him and showing him the respect that he deserves in college football. A lot of it was about his game yesterday. But it was for, just our kind of back and forth conversations. I thought that was something that he really valued. I mean, it was just kind of seeing that, like, I am a dog. I mean, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that dude. And the rest of the conference sees that. I mean, Dan Mullen made a point when they were kind of walking, they were in the same ballroom. Mm-hmm. Mullen kind of made a point to get to him, and you could tell that they shared a very respectful moment. Mullen was kind of up on him, kind of in his ear, telling him about just how much we respect you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we remember 50% of the field we remember those plays you made in 2019 in the second half. You know what I mean? We were picking on you, but you answered, and you know what I mean. You could tell that Derek had that $1 million smile while Mullen was in his ear, and I just thought that was a great experience. And I thought Deculus was fantastic. And I mean, Deculus is. He's very honest. You know what I mean? He's very forthright. There's no secrets. You feel that you hear from Deculus, and nobody said anything to get him in any trouble. I mean, other than the tweet that Katie put out yesterday for Bergeron. I mean, everything kind of went.
We got Joe Namath on the podium out there.
I mean, everything else. I thought, like I said, I thought the low point for Bergeron was saying that he would hire Pelini again. But I mean, if that's what we're talking about, then we're picking nits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At this point, because there was nothing that really jumped off that said, "Oof, you're not going to be able to overcome that comment."
I liked his answer when he was like, "I had to make sure that the coaches, when they talk, the players can understand and comprehend."
Yeah.
Because Pelini would just scream, and it would be white noise. It was just in this ear, out the other, whatever, old man.
Yeah, and I thought that the answer that lived on was one of our former coworkers in Kate Adams, and I believe she goes by Kate Thomas now in media. asked him about what he's learned on this roller coaster ride of being LSU's coach. The lows of losing to Troy, the highs of beating Georgia in 2018, the highs of winning the national championship and being, perceived as maybe the best team of all time in the sport in 19, to the debacle of 2020. His immediate response was, I'm going to do it my way. And I think, kind of everybody kind of looked up and started to look around, especially the Baton Rouge media and the Louisiana media members that were there, because I think it goes into this storyline that a lot of people are talking about. I think when I got down to SEC Media Days, some of the things that I heard that stuck out to me is some of the same things that we're hearing in Baton Rouge. Is Orgeron's seat hot? Is the administrators out for Orgeron? Because people are hearing that outside of Baton Rouge. I've heard it in Baton Rouge. You've heard it in Baton Rouge, because I know you've heard it in Baton Rouge, because every time we're out in public and we sit down and we talk to people that listen to the show, they tell us what they're hearing, and it's very similar to what the rest of the league is hearing, and to people that, have inside sources, or people that have people within LSU football that will share some of the news. It seems as if this is a crossroads of Ed Orgeron's LSU career in 2021. What's it going to be? Are you going to be the stable leader at LSU for possibly the next decade? Or are you going to see the temperature crank up on your seat throughout the season, and there be rumors and whispers of your demise and your way out, just counting on a loss or two to be the death nail? This season for Orgeron feels like, to outsiders, to people outside of that building, like it's a make or break season. That comment yesterday, that response, I think put in the crosshairs of what a lot of people are believing and hearing and thinking to be true, right? To almost validate
that he's hearing the noise also.
Not only that he's hearing it, he feels it. Right? I mean, if you're going to make a public comment like that, it's almost to say that I'm going down swinging.
Yeah.
You're not gonna light me up. You're not gonna give me my walking papers by doing it your way. If this is, it seems as if somebody brought a scenario to him that says, if you can't figure it out this year, and LSU has to backtrack to find the right coaches, or you can't get the locker room right, or you can't win key games that you're supposed to win, well, then you might be in trouble.
Is it hot seat or just higher than ever expectations?
What's that?
Is it hot seat or is it just higher than ever expectations?
No, I think there's some legitimacy to the hot seat, because I don't think that it's all football. It's not all about football.
Because at Georgia, like Georgia fans, if they don't win the SEC East, if they don't go to the SEC championship game, they would be done with Kirby Smart.
Yeah, but I mean that's where the fan base is, but the administration is not there. You're not going to find anybody better. You're not going to find anybody that's going to do that job better than what Kirby Smart does. I wonder if Scott Woodward and Stephanie Rimp and the decision makers, Orgeron's boss, don't wonder if there's a better selection out there to run their football program, because, like I said, I don't think that the heat is necessarily all deemed towards what's happening on the field. Jeff Marson says Coach O's hot seat is all smoke. That's clickbait in his opinion. Jeff, I'm here to tell you, it's not. To me, I think that there are some outside circumstances around the LSU football program that could put Orgeron in trouble, whether or not his team performs. And if they don't, it definitely brings attention to Orgeron and his future on the job. I've said it before. I don't think that Scott Woodward and the powers that be like the fact that their head coach is jogging shirtless on his vacation.
Yeah.
I don't think that they like the head coach jogging shirtless down River Road routinely, taking pictures with students and that stuff, making it out on social media. I know the administration definitely does not like the head coach saying out loud that he did not interview two primary coaching candidates that he ultimately hired in 2020 into the public. That's public relations stuff that you don't have to admit to. That's all known behind closed doors to the people that made that decision. You don't have to tell the ticket buyers that. You don't have to tell your fan base that. So those types of misjudgments, in my opinion, have raised awareness inside of the executive committee over at LSU Sports to say, hey, if the team is not performing up to standard, which they did not do in 2020, and 2020 was a debacle by LSU football standards, by any football department standards. 2020 was a debacle in the way that it was run, and it functioned day in, day out.
Even with COVID, there was like 2 COVID outbreaks.
Thank God. I mean, not to make light of it, but we were going in to play Alabama. We were going to play Florida whenever we were not looking right. We didn't have a quarterback.
It was just
LSU didn't have a quarterback, so LSU should be thankful those got moved back. Do you think that his comments, do they make you nervous about him doing it my way? Because LSU has had a history of coaches that when they meddle or get even Orgeron to an extent in 2017 when he just took over the offense from Matt Canada, and then you could see the downfall almost of the output and the production from the offensive side.
Well, I think that could be Orgeron's death nail. If he wants to do it like that, if he wants to do it his way, if he wants to beat his chest, if he wants to look at me, give me the credit, I'm the guy, I'm doing it my way, he'll be out. He'll be out because his greatest attribute, in my opinion, is understanding how to delegate, to hand out power, to bring in the right people, to bring in people that are smarter than you.
You can't
and that's
pry
okay.
when you delegate.
That's okay. Right. You can't pry when you delegate because you've got to turn over trust to people that you are saying, hey, you know how to do this. This is your expertise.
I trust you.
I am empowering you to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Katie with Twitter.
That is my advantage. that is my leadership quality that I am offering to you. That's why I'm here. Right? Because that's what he told you on the reason why he was here when he was introduced 5 years ago. He's been on the job now 5 years, man. Oof. Right?
Yeah.
And from an administrative standpoint, if you're still putting out some of the fires that they're doing, most notably off the field, right? Like last year, off the field, on the field was a disaster. Off the field was a disaster as well. But I think he's trying to sidestep and stay out of landmines off the field more than he is on the field. I think LSU is going to be really good this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree with Jake. I think they're the second best team in the West.
I mean, winning cures all.
It absolutely does. It 100% does, and that's what Orgeron knows. He knows that he can beat a lot of this stuff that people are trying to get him on if he just wins football games.
Just that pride, man. It's
right.
It's scary.
It makes me nervous. It does.
It does.
I mean, we saw it because, I mean, you go back to the coach before him, you go back to Les, that's exactly what he did. He started to meddle into this. It's almost when it's something that they don't understand, they have to do it their way. When it's an offense that he doesn't understand why you're calling this play in this particular scenario, he's like, give me that play sheet, I'm doing it. And it's never empower the guys that you hired. So I don't understand why.
Les was always scared that he was going to hire his successor.
Right.
Which was Les admitting that he knows how dumb he is.
His only tell.
He knew, and maybe that is a sign of his intelligence, of him recognizing that I'm stupid and I can't bring anybody in here that is smarter than me because they're going to see that they can do the job better than I can, and they'll just give him the job. But luckily for Les, his boss was dumber than he was. And then his boss's boss, then his boss's boss was dumber than that guy. Right?
Yelling a scotch.
So, I mean, what's that game in Price is Right where they drop the Plinko?
Plinko.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like a Plinko game of just dumbasses. Right? Like, I mean, I bet I hit a dumbass. Drop the Plinko chip.
You will.
You know what I mean? You got Oliva's face, you got F. King's face, and you got that dumbass with that hat with his finger in his ear. Drop the Plinko chip. I guarantee you will hit one.
Oh, my God.
But Les was so scared to bring people in here because he knew his job would be in jeopardy as soon as Lane Kiffin or somebody like that showed up. Everybody was busting his balls on, well, Saban's recognizing and bringing people in like Lane Kiffin, and he would have some stupid-ass response to the press on why he couldn't do that. But the real reason why he couldn't do it is because if you brought Lane Kiffin in here, Lane 3 days on the job job and be like, yo, Les, what are you doing, bro?
Why don't you stay in the office today?
Right.
You're good. We're good.
Don't even come in here,
AC
man.
in there, Les.
Go hang out in the recruiting department and freak everybody out all day. We'll run the football program, man.
Hands. But I mean, when you look,
you would think that Ogeron would have seen that because Ogeron was in the
part of the
building.
staff.
He was in the building when that was going on. And to me, Ogeron fell victim of that in 2020. Was either looking for credit or trying to discredit everybody who had their hand in the success of 19. The fact that George Munoz was not retained at LSU last season and you had to go rehire him in 2021, right? I mean, letting DJ Mangus leave with Joe Brady. I mean, that to me is inexcusable, right? I mean, that was the best offense that college football had ever seen, not just LSU. Hold on to that.
And
don't go hire Scott Linehan. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? Well, I know him. Well, who cares? Les knew Cam Cameron. You know what I mean? It turned into a frat party. LSU football turned into the good old boy network under Les Miles, where he was doing all of his groomsmen favors. I know I've told this story, but when he introduced Cam Cameron, when Les introduces Cam Cameron, the first thing he tells the media room was, we stood in each other's wedding. Who cares? Who cares?
Just won again.
You know what I mean? Like, what's his offense look like?
Bad.
I mean, a lot of that was Ogeron last year. You know what I mean? Keeping Insminger in place. Scott Linehan, bringing him in. Not interviewing Bo Pelini. I mean,
Pelini's better than Dave Aranda's defense.
That stuff. All those comments. Not keeping guys like George Munoz. Retaining them. DJ Mangus. Guys that were around and saw the success, what it took to be a championship level program. All of them are run off. Now, when he loses the locker room, he loses 5 games that are look very bad in the losses, and you go 5-5, and people around you from a support system are not there anymore. The people that you could pick up the phone routinely and would answer after one ring are not necessarily answering as fast as they did in years past. You realize I better clean this stuff up, or I'm going to be out of a gig that's paying me $7 million a year, right? I mean, I better go out there and get people that can relate to these young athletes. I thought one of the things that he pointed out yesterday was that he's almost nearly he described it in a sense of how young the coaching staff has gotten, and he described it with a great example. And right now I'm forgetting how he colored the picture, but it was very clear on what he went out to do. He was going to find young, relatable coaches that these athletes can relate to in recruiting and really get the message from, whether it's guys like DJ Mangus or Jake Peets or Durante Jones or Andre Carter or guys that really have a reputation of being able to form relationships
and relate
in recruiting. Kevin Falk.
Well, I think the biggest quote that I took away from Stingley Jr. was when he said, you'll finally see what chemistry looks like this year.
Wow, yeah.
As opposed to, obviously, like you've said, the debacle in the defensive end, especially in the defensive secondary. There was they didn't know what the hell was going on.
You gotta get some trust back.
So if you take anything away from Stingley, I think that's what I took away. Is you'll see what chemistry looks like. You mentioned Durante Jones, and I think he's kind of melded with all those guys. Like, I think that's going to be. I would be hard pressed to say this defense. I mean, it's hard to be worse, but they're going to be light years ahead of where they were last year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and they're going to be coached so much better. And I think Ogeron very much describing that yesterday. They're not going to get out of any segment in practice where there's any questions on base fundamental stuff. There's no way that you can go play Mike Leach in week 1 and then get to a post-game press conference and say you couldn't input cover 2. You couldn't play a zone. What do you mean? You can't play a zone. I mean, they're running that on 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th grade football fields.
Out there and run zone.
You could draw it up in the middle of it. If I got Derek Stingley, Eli Ricks, and Jacoby Stevens, I can draw it up on the whiteboard of, hey guys, this is what we're gonna do because we're getting shredded.
Yes,
you know what I mean? On national TV, we can't guard a man to man. We can't do it. So here's what we got to do. I know that we haven't taught cover 2, which to me that's almost insubordination in itself. That you've been training for. I mean, remember during the COVID stuff, this stuff was bounced back nearly 3 weeks. They had 6 weeks on the practice field, and you're paying a defensive coordinator nearly $2 million, and he can't draw you up cover 2, or you're not prepared to go to a zone defense against a guy that if you watch just a little bit of tape, you would have to say, we got to have a zone in there to make sure we're covering all the areas of the field, right?
You ever seen Mike Leach, coach?
I mean, they're going to pick us to death. I mean, running by themselves.
But yeah, you got the state of the art locker room with this fancy room where you can dial up plays on there that LSU just didn't use.
Yeah.
Bo Pelini saw no use for that room. And the other thing I thought was interesting, I know it's so embarrassing, dude, was Coach O calling in and saying he pretended to be a player, and I just wonder how he changes his voice to where you don't know it's Coach O.
Say that again.
So he said during the stream, he was like, well, I called Durante Jones to pretend to be a player and asked him how he would implement scheme and explain it to me, and I'm just wondering how Coach O masks his voice to sound anything other than Coach O. He doesn't have a different accent.
No.
There's no way.
If I could pick one person that can't do any other accent, it's
No.
him.
Coach O.
He's pigeonholed into that character.
Was he not just saying
Ed,
he
is
was
that you?
talking to him as if he was a player?
No, he said he pretended. He said he
Really?
pretended to be. Okay, I've watched
No,
it.
I know what he said, but I'm saying there's no way that I can believe that he intimidated. Or that he impersonated anybody. I mean, by the way, Panamsky was following him around 2 steps yesterday. He probably just handed him the phone and do the impression. Act like you're this guy. Put it on speakerphone and let me hear what he says.
Like Quincy Wiggins.
Yes. Which, by the way, the Q will be here this week.
Cue ball.
Everything is
When's he
patched up.
coming?
I don't know that yet.
Okay.
I don't know that yet.
We will know it's him when we
What,
see
you
him in
don't believe
person. Oh, I believe you.
I believe you.
I'm just nervous for him.
They'll talk about Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Quincy, have you seen the downtown area? Have you seen the Riverwalk?
God, you're gonna sell him on it.
It's disgusting. It's gross.
Farmer's Market's great, Quincy.
Who cares?
Hey, that's where he's going. He's taking that 5 a.m. stroll to eat breakfast. You're the
farmer's
only
market.
lunatic up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's such a low selling point. Well, something's open. Go to Louis. Shit, it's open.
Yeah. I think it closes.
Yeah, Jesus, what were y'all doing? You're up till
Looking for a little
5.
down home food, bro.
I just want a homemade biscuit.
I remember growing up in Baton Rouge, knowing that you could get a little local breakfast on a weekend. Now
Name
it's
it.
just
Is Louis not open early anymore?
Yeah, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, it's not 24/7 anymore.
That is when it wants to be. When it needs to be, it's there for
10
you.
a.m., 10 p.m., 8 a.m. during COVID.
It's
Okay,
over.
COVID.
He comes
And it's
out at
back.
night.
Is it? Is it over?
No.
I think it's back.
Is it
It's
over?
back.
No.
It feels like it's back. It feels like it's back.
Delta's back. Or Delta is here.
Maybe get unemployment again. It's like $700 a month or a week to do nothing.
Chill out there, Jack. You're employed.
No. Tiger line.
My other job.
Turn that house into a home.
Yeah.
One more before we get out of here. LSU football picked up a huge commit yesterday as they get what some believe to be the best running back in the state. Others believe Le'Veon Moss here in Baton Rouge could be it. But Trevante Citizen out of Lake Charles pledged his commitment to Coach O and the crew yesterday. And let me say this. We have talked to a couple of people within the recruiting department up at LSU football and a couple of the key figures up there. And they told me that this does not get done without Ed Ogeron. That usually guys like Mason Smith and Austin Thomas and recruiting, Mickey Joseph and Corey Raymond and a lot of these guys are
Mason
doing the
Smith.
work. I said Mason. A lot of these guys behind the scenes are doing the work and really building the bridge of the prospect getting to LSU. This was a lot of Coach Ed Ogeron, and a lot of it was rebuilding some of the relationship that had seen some rocky times with LSU with Citizen and Citizen's dad getting to LSU. So I can say that Ogeron played a big part, very instrumental in getting the commitment from Trevante Citizen yesterday. And Citizen, about 6 foot, 6'1", 220, number 11 running back, number 9 overall prospect in the state of Louisiana. He's a top 150 prospect overall. He now is the 15th commitment to LSU. He runs some track over there in Lake Charles as well. He's speedy. He's strong. I know that Jake Peets absolutely loves Trevante Citizen and kind of who he can be and transform into at the next level. He's one of these versatile running backs that can do just about anything you want him to. Run it in between the tackles, fast enough to run outside, athletic enough to line up in a slot or throw it to him out of the backfield.
Love that.
Yes, and in Jake Peets' offense, Joe Brady's offense,
Yeah,
think
he'll
about the
run
running
routes.
back in the passing game. Think about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They will use Citizen very much in a similar role to Edwards-Helaire in just his versatility and his ability to catch the football both out of a slot position and out of the backfield, him being a mismatch to linebackers and guys that want to try to cover him in that spot. I think Citizen's going to be a problem. So a big commitment for LSU. We talked to Citizen a little bit yesterday, and hopefully we can link up with him and get him on at some point. But a big commitment as LSU gets their first running back in this class of 2022. We've talked so much about how talented the group is: quarterbacks, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, safeties, defensive backs, and running backs too. I mean, Le'Veon Moss and Citizen, and finally to make a move on one of those guys and get the deal done was big for LSU, especially right here on the calendar.
Where do you fall in the camp of Coach O bringing in a recruiting class year after year that's like top 5, top 3, but then not putting up results on the field, like an 8-4, 9-3 year? Do you keep him around because his recruiting prowess is so good and hope to pop again?
No.
Because we went down that road with Les Miles.
Yes.
And it felt like, okay.
No, you've got to be able to recruiting at LSU. You can't take it for granted, right? Like you can't take for granted that you've got to have a guy like Ogeron in there that can close, and you've got to have the right personnel around it to make sure that you can get the guys in. But in today's age, with the amount of talented football coaches that are out there, you're not sacrificing one for the other at a school like LSU. You know what I mean? If
should always be able to pull it in.
If I've got $100 million operating budget for my football department, there's no way that I'm sacrificing my coach, him being that significant better of a recruiter than he is a coach, or vice versa, right? I mean, I want my guy to be able to recruit it and coach it at a high level. Now, maybe he can do one or two things a little bit better than the other, but for the most part, I want that to be just about as equal. I want him to be able to build relationships, recruit, get kids into the facility, into the program, and then once they're there, turn them into players. See the vision, see who. Trevante Citizen is a great example. If you want him to be similar to a Marshall Faulk type role, I'm not comparing him to Marshall Faulk at all, but somebody that can run it and catch it, right? Somebody that you can line up at a slot. You can line him up off of the line of scrimmage, out wide, like you did to Clyde. I mean, then sell that to him, build the relationship, get him to LSU, develop that role, put him in that role, let him master it, and turn him into a pro. You go sell that, to me, you don't have to be Ed Ogeron to get guys to LSU. If you can put that on a piece of paper, or you can put that in a video and show that to a recruit, then that jumps off. People see that. Right now, Ogeron's great at what he does. And Ogeron's a little bit different at LSU because he loves Louisiana so much. And he fits Louisiana. He feels Louisiana, which I know that that's not the reason for the job, but in his position, he very much uses that to his advantage. So, I think that you do not sacrifice one for the other. And that's why Ogeron has to recognize what his strengths are and either just put him in a lane and let him recruit, and go out and hire the right people and empower those people to come in. And Brad Davis. I mean, Brad Davis to me is somebody that can recruit at a high level and has a reputation for being a developer at a high level, a coach at a high level. That's what you're looking for at every spot, right? I mean, every spot. I mean, there's going to be some guys on the staff that just focus on
Joe Brady.
Yeah, like Joe Brady hated recruiting. That is the reason to me that Joe Brady will never return to college football. He'll never come back to college football, or at least in his coaching prime, he won't, because, man, Joe Brady's a football junkie. He wants to sit into a film room. He wants to sit in a facility all day and think and create and draw up plays for the world's best football players. He don't want to fly to Maryland in the middle of November, in the middle of the season,
to get told maybe,
and go talk to some 16, 17-year-old quarterback and him say, yeah, but I'm looking at Brian Kelly and Notre Dame. Brian Kelly? Why would you go play for that prick? You know what I mean?
I'll see you in December and beat you about 40.
Exactly. Like, are you serious? Like, he couldn't take that. He couldn't understand how people would be like, I don't know. Like, no. Just put me in the facility. Show me who the guys we got. Let me coach them. I'm not going to ask people to play for me. You know what I mean? You should recognize he's Sean Payton, man. You know what I mean? You think Sean Payton would be a good recruiter? I mean, what would the first quarterback that told Peyton no? He'd probably lose it on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know.
Yeah. I mean, he'd probably like try to fight the dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
Like,
drop down a huge list of just, here's every record I've ever broken. You don't want to be a part of that? Like, all right, fine. I can find anybody to come do this. I don't need you. And then walk away, and it would be burned.
I mean, I think Kentucky passed on Peyton in like 2001, 2000. I mean, like they passed on him to be the head coach.
Wow.
At the University.
I mean,
of
a
Kentucky.
young Peyton would have been a great college football coach because he still has that.
Somebody with the like Saban was at LSU. Saban was telling people publicly that he had goals and aspirations to go to the NFL. I'm sure that Sean Payton would have been a young guy saying like, I'm not staying in Kentucky.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But
I'll turn them into a absolute like just must watch television. You know what I mean? Like the darling of the sport in 2 years. Kind of like Joe Brady did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Joe Brady made LSU offense the most likable figure in college football 2 years ago when she was the ugliest chick at the dance for 15 years.
Gotta love puberty.
I mean, Joe Brady turned LSU offensive football into Snow White.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's the movie where she takes the glasses off and shimmies the hair and he dates the quarterback? I don't know.
She's all that.
She's all that. We got she's all thatted.
I mean, it's
to the point where we're still calling it Joe Brady's offense. Like,
did you see yesterday when a couple of people referenced Joe Brady and Joe Burrow's offense to Orgeron? He kind of like stepped away from the mic and looked down a couple of times. But I'm thinking to myself, bro,
own it,
embrace it. I mean, you're the guy that found Joe Burrow. You're the guy that hired Joe Brady. That's what this is about, man.
You hooked up with the hottest girl at prom.
I mean, that's what you are. If you're a recruiter, you found the best offensive mind and you found the best quarterback. Now go find the other ones. Nobody's telling you that it's not your gig, man. I just think him looking for credit is so chicken little. It's so like, bro, you're the one that's making the $7 million a year. Mm-hmm. You're the one that's going out and you got to hire him. I mean, what you really want people to? You really think that people would believe that that's your mastermind of an offense in 2019? Like you're the one that's told everybody you don't know anything about offense, so you stay out of the way. So to me, it's a great compliment to who you are as a coach. That's who you found. Like, let that be your reputation. That you just turn... To me, Durante Jones and Jake Peets won't be here in 2 years. They shouldn't be. If LSU has the type of success that you envision them having over the next 2 years, well, 2 years from now, 2 summers from now, Peets won't be here. Peets is an NFL guy. Look at his resume. His resume is 98% NFL. Durante Jones is 98% NFL. Jake Peets has now tasted the pie of the NFL, and he's kind of like Joe Brady. Do I want to recruit? Do I want to miss all this time away from my family? I got 5 kids.
Hell, 6 by now, probably.
You know? I mean, do I want to miss all this time out recruiting and when I can just go park at a facility for 9 months and have 3 months off and just coach it at a high level? I mean, Durante Jones knows nothing but the NFL, right? I mean, 2 years from now, if LSU's defense, if Stingley's if Stingley's a top 3 pick, if Eli Ricks is a top 10 pick, if B.J. Ujulari's a top 10, if first round pick, I mean, some of these guys.
Sage Ryan
is a player. I mean, people are going to be coming to Baton Rouge and saying, I want to talk to your defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? That's how it works. But the way that Orgeron sold the job to the public was that's how he expected it to work. That Dave Aranda and Lane Kiffin are going to be his first 2 coordinators. And once those guys come and get cherry-picked, well, you just have a farm system that you're building, right? I mean, if Jake Peets is the offensive coordinator now and he gets cherry-picked 2 years from now to go call plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, then DJ Mangus, you're up. It's your job. Who's Durante Jones' next guy behind him? When Durante Jones gets picked up by the Minnesota Vikings to be the defensive coordinator in 2 years, who's the guy under Durante Jones that's in the facility, right? Is it Dwayne Thomas? A guy like him. I heard great things about Dwayne Thomas.
Hell of a leader.
Being on LSU staff. Maybe he's not ready to be the defensive coordinator at LSU, but that guy needs to be on staff, being groomed and being farmed and ready for that opportunity. And that's what O told you he was going to do when he was introduced. Not this shirt off at the pool, beating my chest, I'm the 2019 National Coach of the Year stuff. Bro.
I'm going to do it my way.
I mean.
Don't do it your way.
I'll never forget, I was told in in right when I started college, I was one of these guys that I did that. Some guys said, bro, you sound like a fool, man. The only time you should ask for credit is when you go to the bank. And it probably took me 5 years to figure out what he really meant. You know what I mean? Like in the moment, I was like, yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But walked away thinking, only time I need credit is when I go to the bank. What do you even mean? And then once you figure out, the only time you need to ask for credit or look for credit is when you need it from the bank to make something happen, financially. It is a great way to think of it, man. And to me, Orgeron is steadily looking around the corner for the credit. Like, bro, it's your gig. You're the one making the $7 million.
Look at what you've gotten away with.
Exactly. And I just hope he's still not in that mentality. And yesterday I saw some glimpses of we're going to do it my way answer. To me was almost as if he's had a meeting of, hey,
I'm going down with the ship.
Your ass is on the line, bro. You know what I mean? Like there's not going to be too many off seasons like you experience if you have a season like you did last year, and not like he did last. If he has that, he's gone. Yeah. But anything even close to that, there's going to be whispers and rumors and people that are talking and chirping about it's over for you. And quit seeking all that credit, man. You don't need that credit. You're the one making the paycheck.
Credit. Just look at your ring.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
Did his plan kind of fall apart whenever Lane Kiffin didn't come to LSU? Was that like that seemed like the biggest cog in his wheel?
Well, they panicked. Right. In the sense of what they were selling to Joe Oliva was they were selling the ancillary parts of Ed Orgeron. They weren't selling Ed O, right? They weren't saying, hey, hire Ed Orgeron and you're going to get the best guy for the job. Hire Ed Orgeron and you're going to get Dave Aranda as his defensive coordinator. You're going to get Lane Kiffin as his offensive coordinator. You're going to get Corey Raymond as his defensive backs coach. You're going to get all these guys.
And all the relationships he has to fill out the staff.
And then Saban calls Jimmy Sexton and says, Lane Kiffin is not calling plays in Baton Rouge. Find him a head coaching job. He is not going to LSU. That is not going to. LSU's not taking my offensive coordinator and turning them into their play caller. It ain't happening. So, Jimmy, find him a head coaching job. And if he's not making enough money, let me know, and I'll fit the difference. And if you remember, that contract he got down in Boca Raton, people were like, damn. Lane making some money down there.
Boca.
Yeah, Saban found one of his private money guys down in Miami when he was down with the Dolphins and said, look, get him over the hump. Get him into the where he needs to be because he can't be in Baton Rouge. And once that deal fell apart, Panamsky, Orgeron said, who is the hottest name out there?
That's the bill of gold.
Who's the big name that we can sell to Oliva and to the fan base that if you hire O, you're also getting Dave Aranda, Ed Orgeron, and at the time, everybody was talking about Matt Canada because he had just hung 60 on Clemson. And he was the Frank Broyles Award winner where he was the top assistant coach in the game. And again, Orgeron, I don't know if he interviewed him formally, but when he did interview him, it was 10 minutes knowing that Canada was in on the job and that the paycheck made sense and that they were just going to get it done. And that's how that worked, because O really had no confidence in himself. It was really about everything that was around him was going to get him the job, right? And as soon as he got to the mountaintop, it was almost like he forgot
what got him there.
It's like you forgot the strategy, you forgot the formula, bro. Like, no, don't run George Munoz off. Don't let DJ Mangus leave. Keep those guys, man. Don't do that. Keep those guys in the building. Keep those guys in the facility so you can have this culture that you're trying to build and create. You got to keep those guys around or it's going to fall apart. And, I mean, as high as LSU was in 19, they were lower in 2020, right? I mean, think how great 2019 was. 2019 was epic. right? I mean, it was every game was fantastic. You had the best player in the sport. You had the best play caller in the sport. You had the best pass catcher in the sport.
We got fake
Best
jerseys
line.
coming out with
everything,
the
bro.
EAUX. It was a movie.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, everything
right?
turned to gold.
For as high as that was, 2020 was lower. 2020 was worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. Because the formula was blown up. So you got to get back to the formula, man. And Austin Thomas, I think, is a great representation of just trying to find that organization, trying to get somebody in there that can stabilize, not emotionally make
Great
decisions.
solvent for the chemistry.
Yes, very much a clear thinker, right? A somebody that
Just
can
walking into a frat house.
let's all exhale. You know what I mean? Everybody take a deep breath.
Put your shirts
Everybody
back on.
Yes.
Yes, shirts on.
Yes. Put your shirts on. Put your shirts on. Stop taking the selfies, bro. No more selfies. You know what I mean?
101 stuff.
Let's not do all that. Let's just focus on building the roster and building depth and getting it right. And I think that's kind of who LSU football is trending in the direction. Thank you to everybody for being there this morning. The numbers are fantastic. It's great to be back. Please like, share, comment, tell a friend what's going on here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We're presented daily by Go Chevrolet. Stop in and see them. If you need a new car, they're out in Laplace. If you need a used car or a pre-owned car, stop in and see them at Go Express Auto Sales in Baton Rouge on Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. It's great to see the crew again. Appreciate everybody for holding us down yesterday. We will be all over social media. We've got Bad Boy shirts that'll be available over at Red Stick Sports as Ace Wolf, Adam Miller, and Will Wade have both embraced the bad boys of the league here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as they are the bad boys of the SEC.
We got an Adam Miller one.
Yes, for sure. We've got merchandise explaining that. So check out the latest over at jordy.itemorder.com to pick up your latest Jordy Culotta merchandise. Thank you for everybody for being out there. We're back with you tomorrow morning. Tyrus Thomas will be here tomorrow morning again, and we'll continue our coverage of SEC Media Days.